Hello, and welcome to Scuttlebutt, the War Movie Review Podcast. We're happy to have you with us as we take a look at films from the dawn of cinema to today. We aim to provide a raw and unapologetic review of each film's cinematography, historical accuracy, and delivery. In the process of analysis, certain details will be revealed. These spoilers are only divulged to ensure a fair assessment of each film. We head to the Horn of Africa this week with Ridley Scott's 2001 epic, Black Hawk Down. As always, I'm joined by Mike A.
Hello.
Mike B.
Yes, sir.
And Nate.
Hi.
So, guys, what'd you think?
Was it
I was trying to think of the fucking call sign in the
Super 6'1"?
helicopters. No,
Super 6'4"?
the woman's name they kept saying over and over again. And it was in my mind.
Irene?
And Brian said my name. Irene. Brian kept saying my name. He said my name and it went out my ear. And I was like,
that's what caused you to fuck up the like hello, like the intro, like for everyone else?
Yeah.
That's what caused you?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
Irene.
Look, Mike. I told you last week I'm the captain. Okay, this ship is mine.
We might be in Somalia, but that's
if I want to plow it into the beaches of Somalia, we're gonna do that. Okay.
Okay.
Hey.
My bad. You're rolling a skiff.
Right
into
geography,
the fucking-
wrong
into
movie.
the beach. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Tom Hanks.
Look at me.
Well, it's Somalia though, right?
It is.
At least the actors in that were Somalian.
Very true.
Well,
a lot of them come from the
Oh,
Midwest. too.
thank you. You ruined one of the key points I was gonna make. But hey, we're gonna go with it.
No. I'll let you have it. Okay, you can say it.
No, you spoiled it. Though you spoiled the surprise.
Okay, sorry.
You spoiled the surprise. But yes.
The souffle is ruined. But I'll jump in here. It's a really good movie. You know, I've seen it on TNT a million times back in the day. And, you know, I knew some guys that were part of the battle or around the battle in Somalia, you know, in '93. And no, it was really good, you know. It was slow at times in the beginning. You know, it was really hard to set up a premise like this. But the second that the raid started, it was just nonstop. And it's so well cast. Holy fuck. With so many people
names
that
in this.
so many people that blew up like within a few years, you know.
But they actually did a really good job. That's the thing is like,
Oh yeah.
because there's some also that like had already had names. They've been in big things. Tom Sizemore, right?
He's way better in this
What?
than fucking SPR in my opinion.
I agreed. That's what I was gonna say. Okay, so give your opening statement. Like
No,
we got so much to unpack here.
Yeah, no, that's
It's
really it.
fun. It's
And I
fun.
will say too that you know, if somebody's listening here from you know Mike's channel, thank you. You know, we put a poll out because we're like, what the hell? You know, we'll see if anybody wants to you know influence what we review, and there was an overwhelmingly support or votes for you know a Black Hawk Down, and here we are.
Yep.
So thanks for the
Yeah.
you know
So, yeah.
suggestion, and it's been really cool to do. So hopefully in the future, if anybody wants to recommend stuff or do those polls, we'd love to respond to them and review cool shit. So thanks for that.
Yep. We'll give you a couple options, and you vote, and then we'll do it.
I like
So-
doing the air, land, and sea. You know, make it a little different because it's so easy to do ground
No,
combat all the
it's
time.
great though because it's like
Yeah.
you know something that we might want to do. You know, like we were like, oh, we want to cover that, and like something we don't know about, like that others do know about. It's great in the polls because they're like, oh, you got to do this.
Yep.
And we'll be like, okay, yeah, we'll do it. And so, yeah, it's fun.
Well, this went up against the Admiral, and
Battle of
Britain, and actually there was a good bit of percentage for the Admiral over. Was
No, it was Battle of Britain was a bigger percentage.
Oh, really? Okay.
A
well,
lot of people
okay.
commented on that
The-
too.
A lot of people
was not really well known.
commented. A lot of people commented on about the Admiral, which I was actually very surprised because I had seen it and I was like, or I had seen it like on advertised like on Prime after I watched like a war movie, and it's just like, oh, I don't know anything about this. I'm not gonna watch it.
It's not Master and Commander, but it comes really close. And it has some really amazing naval battles for like 2016, 2017.
But I worry. But I mean, this is me not seeing it. But I worry it's now the Dutch have a good track record of not making crappy movies. But I worry the movie poster makes it look more like Stalingrad 2013 to me. And then I worry.
Oh, yeah. The trailer
So, yeah.
and the poster make it look like shit. I literally got drunk with a bunch of friends and let's watch it. I'm like, this is really good. Like, this is not what it's made out to be. And like anything, trailers are so hard to make because if you fuck it up, then you'd have no idea of what the actual film's about.
He's just a Bosnian trapped in a Serbian trench.
This fall, Mike Schneider.
Right.
That was so funny. I love that. I watched that, yeah, and I'm just like, this is the
And the film is like nothing like that. It's so much better. And you're
yeah,
like,
and it's
For
the
no man's
trailer.
land, that is.
The trailer is like a fucking like Ben Stiller movie or something. Yeah.
Right.
so anyway,
Sorry,
I'm
didn't mean to derail that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks
So
for your
Brian,
input,
it's
guys.
your, yep. Yeah. Thanks. Definitely. Like, yes. Thanks for the input. And it's to make our decision easier if we
Yeah.
can do this. And like, we get you guys input of like, hey, here's some options. What do you guys want to hear about?
Yep.
Or our reactions to?
It's also great having engagement on either on our own channel, which we did launch earlier last month, but also the fact that seeing engagement on Mike's channel about our stupid little podcast that we just record at night.
fun.
It's just incredible to me that 7,000 people just voted just to hear us talk about it, or
cool.
thought it would be cool hold on, let's be real here, to hear Mike talk about it and just have us
Mike and
on the
company,
side. But
Well,
yeah.
they don't know you guys yet. Those guys don't know you guys yet, and they're gonna love you guys. So
Except for Nate, but
with that, Brian, you were finishing up your initial kind of
yes,
thoughts?
I had one thing to say, and it's that I'd love to know your opinion, Mr. Mike B.
Oh Jesus! Literally, we went through all that shit, so you could just say,
Yes.
Okay. So I know a bit about the battle. I've researched it a bit. I've watched talks from the people who were actually there. The only like personal connection I have is a guy that I know pretty well who was in the Marine Corps, who was in Somalia wearing DPDUs, right? 6-color chocolate chip. But he was outside of the city when this battle happened, right? But he went into the city a couple times from what he said, if I remember correctly. But he was a Marine there, and he said it was fucking awful. It was just miserable. It was terrible because he's like, we had nothing, but like that's what we're used to. And he saw these people had nothing. And then I knew somebody also when I was in the Army that like was there during this time. And when I asked him, he had been all around the world, we'll just put it that way. Like he had been a bunch of different places and all that shit. And when I said, so what was the worst place you ever were? He goes, oh, Somalia. Like he just immediately. And I was like, but you've been here. He goes, no, Somalia was the worst. And I'm like, okay. And then he said the same thing. He's like, people, like you see that little, like a pile of sticks or like brush. Well, that's your house. How would you feel about living there? And I'm like, oh, okay. And it's like, man. And so, yeah, I knew two guys that were there. The one was a Marine. The one was doing things. And it was just like, it seemed like the worst fucking place to be possible. And this film actually shows that very well. But so overall, the film, it's very intense, okay? I didn't realize, like, because again, I told you guys this, but like I haven't seen it in like 10 years or so, or actually farther back. It's very intense. It's on the like same kind of level of Wind Talkers, but that's a different conversation. But like as far as intensity goes, it's Wind Talkers, but this is actually like more documented and more researched. And I know guys who were there and they're like, yeah, that's what happened. And it's like, holy shit. Not like, verbatim in the movie how it portrays it, but like the intensity of it, that's how it happened, and it was completely fucked up. And so, yeah, it's gonna be a good conversation. We'll just put it that way. Mike A, you got the mic.
Yeah, it feels in that I thought, it's funny you say that with Wind Talkers because I know what you're saying, but like unlike Wind Talkers, this feels way more grounded. It feels way more
absolutely
real, yeah. And
the intensity is what I was kind of getting at.
Right, yeah, like the intensity of it, and like when people get hurt, it really feels painful. And one scene that kind of really stuck out to me. The guy he was running, and his thumb just gets blown off, and it's just like Jesus fucking Christ. What's up, Nate?
Brian, Did you recognize the guy who got his thumb blown off?
No, actually, I didn't.
It's eating through the suit.
Oh, really? Oh, funny.
It's the dude who gets the he's the last Marine who gets killed. He's the guy who swallows the whole entire ball and he smashes in his mouth. That's the Doc.
Oh,
Who got his thumb blown off.
from The Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah. We just watched it, so.
Yeah, we just watched it, and Brian, I think, turned to me and said, "This is the worst movie of all time."
Definitely not. But okay.
He was also extremely tired. So yeah,
Pretty
Right.
faded by that point. So,
Yeah.
Okay, but
sorry,
no,
yeah.
this movie it had a lot of things about it that I liked. Like I say, I thought if the intensity was it was done really well. I like that part of it. Ridley Scott is always really good when it comes to implementing effects into movies and stuff like that. And all of this seemed very real. It didn't seem fake at all. I mean, you can get into little details if you want, but like I thought overall it was pretty good. It's funny. There are things about it that I thought were really good, and then other things I'm just like, yeah. There's some stuff that's of the time when this came out that I didn't really care for. But overall, I thought it was good. It's extremely entertaining and riveting, and I was never bored once while watching it.
Right.
Yeah. So that's my thesis, my opening statement.
And you,
Nathaniel.
Mr. Nathan?
Uh-oh, he said the N word.
So I've been sitting here watching the movie by myself because you're not okaying it, Mike B.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, you never gave permission for it, so.
I'm sitting here watching the movie by myself. If you want to okay it on the street, on the things you guys can
To
see
share
me playing it.
his screen, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh. Shit. Well, no, I was just saying, like, in our
there you
opening
go, yeah.
comments, like, what the fuck?
So the last time I saw this movie was probably 10 years ago. I used to watch it a lot because when I was like 16, 17, 18, it's the whole height of the Afghan war in Iraq was going on. I was like really thinking about trying to join the military, and of course you watch everything because you're just like, oh, everything's gonna be like this. And so I used to watch a lot and used to really enjoy it, and I still enjoy it. Now that I'm in my early 30s and definitely DQ'd with all the injuries I've had, it has been very interesting to go back and watch this again with all of the knowledge that I have now and having it still hold up so well. And I don't know a lot of the historical context details that like I would do with the World War II film, but I really enjoy this movie. The actors are great, even though Australian and English actors keep having their twangs coming in and out of their southern accents that they keep doing. Like Orlando Bloom struggles so hard.
Yep.
He at least nailed it down by The Outpost, but it took him like 20 years. So.
I couldn't stand Ewan McGregor when he would
It gets
talk in this.
better, though. Like,
Yeah.
it gets a lot better, but
It's just
in the beginning when he's filling out the shit on the computer, it's just like, dude.
Hold on, I gotta call
Obi-Wan.
you out. Did you see Ewan?
Whatever his name is, Ewan or however you say his name.
Ewan.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Scottish.
Ewan.
Ewan McGregor.
Yo, what's up?
McGregor.
Yo, what's up? It's Ewan.
Yeah, but when he would speak, I was like, oh my god, like and he's a great actor, but like his American accent did not do it for me.
His character is great in this too, Grimes. I made coffee all the way through Desert Storm, through Panama. Fucking-
It actually didn't bother his accents didn't bother me. I think it was Orlando Bloom's and old Bruce Banner, whatever the fuck his name is.
Eric Bana.
Thank you. Yeah, his Australian accent kept coming in and out. But no, I mean, like, again, this is a good movie, and we all knew this, and so did everyone who picked it, and they wanted to hear us talk about it. But I mean, no, I mean it's really, really, really good, and it's held up. Again, just phenomenal actors. It's just incredible how much cast is in here.
It's an all-star cast.
Yeah, like even though some of them were not all-stars yet, like I believe this came out before like Lord of the Rings, so Orlando Bloom hadn't really done anything at that point. Major. Before his Pirates of the Caribbean and all that stuff, so he wasn't known. And then
it was around the same time. Like, it's like,
this came. I don't remember when this came out in 2001, but it definitely would have been before September.
Yes.
Or
Well,
sorry,
do you wanna-
before December? Sorry,
do you wanna
'Cause
guess
December?
the release
December is when Lord of the Rings Fellowship came out, because I know that because I went.
I think
so.
this came out in December of 2001.
January 22nd, 2002.
Oh, really?
Which is insane because
I thought this came out in 01.
It
Yeah, I
did,
thought
but
so,
it didn't
too.
get theatrically released till 02. That's the problem, when does it get released into festivals versus, So it got released in the festivals before in the 01 season, but then it wasn't picked up for distribution until 02. Which is crazy because, in the midst of those two events, 9/11 happens. And I was like thinking about that the whole time, and this is January of 02. You're fucking, we're getting ready to go. And we already have troops in. The 10th Mountain Division already is in Afghanistan by the time this movie comes out. It talks about the 10th Mountain Division in Mogadishu.
Yep.
But it's just like crazy, this is the film that a lot of guys watched, going to war. And in a way, I'm really glad that this is the one because it just does it really well. And it really shows, that good guys die too in horrible fucking ways.
You're not invincible.
Oh, yeah. Like the Delta
not.
guy that gets fucking blown out of the fucking deuce and a half.
Does a guy?
Yeah.
Guys.
Oh, yeah.
Plural.
But the
Like,
one dude that
they
fucking
get
loses his
fucked
legs,
up. Yeah.
Like fucking, That's it. Sayonara. The guy with the fucking RPG in the chest. You read about the shit in memoirs and you talk to roulettes and see it, but you very rarely see it in film. I mean, Generation Kill is great, but you don't see that kind of stuff. Zero Dark 30, great, but you don't see that kind of stuff. That's why this sets the bar so ahead, and it's horrible what happened, but it's crazy that it came out just on the cusp of the second round of global war on terror.
To comment on the editing and the cinematography, I had call me stupid. That's fine. You guys do it all the time. I had no idea Ridley Scott did this until his name popped up at the end.
Same.
I was like,
I wasn't
this
even
makes
thinking about
so much sense.
Yeah.
But what blows my mind, when did Gladiator come out?
02, I think.
Oh, no.
No.
It was earlier than that. It was...
Around this time.
00? Like 00? I'll look it up.
Yeah, please do.
Because what I'm blown away by is that I'll look it up. Holy shit. Yeah. May 5th, 2000 was when it came out. So in less than 2 years, he made a whole nother film that equals, if not rivals, in a completely different genre.
He filmed it in the same place that he filmed Gladiator.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, because he liked it so much.
Oh, that would make sense.
Where was that?
Where was that?
Jamie, look it up. Jamie, look it up. Jamie. Look it up, Jamie.
Morocco.
Morocco, yeah.
Quarzaz. Not even gonna not try that.
Definitely had that look.
Malta,
Africa.
Morocco, Fort Rascalsoli.
Malta, yeah, it's a really small island, but
Two islands, I think, but yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it's northern and southern.
Okay.
But no, it's crazy that he was able to do these two crazy films.
Yeah, really, and what I guess I was trying to lead into that was that the cinematography was very, very, very good in terms of it seemed like of the time, but it stood out of the time. And then Ridley Scott's name came out and went, well, that's why.
Well,
same way why I think Gladiator has really good cinematography and shot placement.
Ridley Scott always brings it when it comes to cinematography, right from the beginning of his career. But it's funny though, like with this, the look of this film reminded me of a lot of films that came after this, like Man on Fire and stuff like that. They have this very high contrasty, dirty look to them.
Yeah, there's a certain contrast to them. I also feel like that the shot placement of this era tends to follow many films of the time, and then they start becoming more like, and I'm gonna give reference to it again, but like the Born Ultimatum, or sorry, the Born Identity series, that changes into a completely different type of cinematography of the same era, and it's like that unfortunately seemed to take the trend of films like this and or the feel of it to mimic like the Hurt Locker and stuff. Very up close, very jittery, just weird
sweaty.
rush. Well, just weird, rough shot placement, and kind of mimics between like the early days again of like The Rock and stuff. Because Brian, I just sat through that, and the fucking cinematographer for that is Michael Bay, and it's early Michael Bay, or mid Michael Bay, whatever you want to say, just bad. And so it was very, very good to see this and go, wow, okay, this is really good everything. So
Yeah.
that's my rant on editing and cinematography, but good. No crazy shots, but just good, decent, really, really well done shots.
That was something, yeah, I was going to comment on. It wasn't, like, as far as cinematography, I felt like it was just kind of more like a movie. You know, I mean, yeah, it's well done and he does things and stuff, but there wasn't anything like in these other films like, oh my God. But my one favorite shot that I'm like, fuck, the one thing you always walk away with, like, oh, I love this scene, is when the first Black Hawk goes down, I think Super 6-1. And because Super 6-4 is Durant's that goes down later. But when the first one goes down and you see it crash, and then it fades from, you know, like real, what's happening, into the reconnaissance, grainy video. And I'm like, that's fucking awesome. That's such a good transition to pull it from the actual event to the high level perspective of what do we do now, you know? So there are some creative things like that, but overall, I don't know. I feel like in the Ridley Scott category, this is the least innovative camera stuff, in my opinion. I feel like the Centurion, or what is it, Gladiator had more like of those crazy shots, but it's kind of hard to do that with this because it's all like city fighting and shooting and stuff. So you can get some cool over, you know, like, I don't know, fourth or third story shots or on the ground, but it's without drones and stuff. It's very hard.
Yeah.
It seemed like, and again, this is what obviously 90s, you know, probably when they're filming this, 99, you know, or after Gladiator, probably so early 2000. The thing is that I was half expecting like the shots that we get with his other films. Like I watched the what is The Duelist? Was that his new one?
The Duelist was like one of his first films.
Late 70s.
Yeah, but didn't he just redo it with like Adam
he did,
Driver and no? Am I thinking of someone else?
Yeah, no, you're right. I forget what it's called. But I think it's called The Duel to The Duelist.
The Duel or whatever. Like,
yeah, it's two guys, and it's I haven't seen it. Sean saw it and said it was pretty good. Sean's a friend of the channel, Sean, and he said it was very, you know, it's really hard to kill someone in armor.
Yeah, and
You know,
and
like-
again, it's the same kind of shot placement. Like it's the traditional, I hate to say Ridley Scott shot placement, but he has the ability to have technology now, and there were some more kind of grandiose kind of style cinematography that really did make it really quite cool. So yeah, that's just my comment with that.
You might be thinking of The Last Duel. Is that the movie?
That's what I'm
it's
thinking
gotta
of.
be.
Yeah,
It just came out.
Yeah. Which I'm sorry, Matt Damon, no. No, especially in a fucking mullet. No.
Some actors are meant for certain things.
Yes.
Some are
I
meant.
just had sex and I'm about to eat nachos. Anyway, let's get back to this.
But no, it's got so many cool scenes. Like for the one example, like when they're getting air support in the street, and all the fucking they get rain and hot shells, and they're trying to pick the shit out of their fucking plate carriers and stuff. That was cool, because that even happened during the Second World War. You hear about that kind of stuff, you know.
It's
even
been done in training too, like
Yep. Even my
it's been done
grandmother.
at all points. Yeah.
Even my grandmother, who she lived in Vienna during the war and lived through some of the really bad bombings and strafing. She even mentioned like all the shell cases littering the streets after the fighters showed up. You know, it's like those little details that is just cool to see. And while I'm on the subject, the Little Bird is the coolest fucking helicopter ever. And like, yeah, they're small and they're easy to shoot down, whatever. But like this film is just like, just makes them look so cool and how maneuverable and just, it's just crazy, you know, how those small helicopters change special operations compared to like, you know, Vietnam, we have a fucking Huey. and then you had little bit loaches and nom, but they really weren't used
I
for
was
these
just
kind
gonna
of
say
things.
you had a lot of little birds in Vietnam.
Yeah, but they were more, reconnaissance and shit like that. They were never really used for like the skids for dropping
Not
off
true.
troops.
Not true.
I've never heard
Not
of
true at
loaches
all.
being used for dropping troops off, but these large during the Vietnam War. Let me say that pre-75.
Vietnam,
Yeah.
they were definitely used for that.
Oh, interesting.
Not like conventional troops, like non-conventional, like SF guys, and like
Even then, there's no story.
whatever.
I'd look into that. It's interesting.
there's no stories about. Okay,
Well, from at least what I've seen, but it's all like Chinooks and Hueys and shit.
yeah,
but,
it's definitely they were used a shitload in Vietnam, and that's why they still use them.
because I know in the Grenada, well, not really Grenada, but Panama, they get a lot of use, and that's something else that nobody ever knows about. You know that we like fucking invaded Panama in the late '80s, and they mention it in this movie obviously because the 82nd or well, not the 82nd, the Rangers and stuff, they were there. Just like they were at Grenada and stuff. So, but I know that they have those prison raids and shit where they really little birds came into their own with modern tactics. So, but it's just cool for fucking to see. They're just a really neat, robust helicopter, and it's nice to see them get screen time instead of the Huey. Hueys are great too, but these things are BAMs.
It was also pretty cool to see all of the little birds and the Black Hawks all together in one giant shot, like
Oh yeah, well,
multiple times. So
I thought about the Apocalypse Now helicopter attack, but what's cool about this one is that this one, I feel is like the exact opposite of that. Because the other one, you watch it and you're like getting hyped up for the battle and stuff. You're like, holy shit, you're getting ready and you're gonna fucking do this. Sit in your helmet, you're gonna get your balls shot off. And this one is just like, oh, they know you're coming, so you're fucked. This is like just as cool, but in a different vein. I really like that. I liked how you don't like hear the noise of the helicopters. Like it's just all they're coming and they know you're coming. So, but great scene.
This is it's an interesting movie because this movie went through 80 drafts before it was finally bought to actually go into production. Wow. And written numerous times. And a lot of things were left out of the script. There was apparently in the original script that they were even using while shooting this movie, there was a lot of more political stuff and more of like, what are we doing this for and all that stuff. And they kind of got rid of a lot of that. The Grimes character was a much bigger role originally, but then in 1999, the actual guy that he supposed to be came out that he had raped his daughter. And then they were like, fuck, we don't want that guy to be in the movie. So like he's a completely like different character. He has a different name. He's not the actual guy. They wanted to completely change that.
Huh.
Yeah.
Don't meet your heroes.
Yeah. Crazy sometimes how, what happens with stories and, the real people involved.
Yeah, right. It's
but and like I say, I don't know a whole lot about this actual event, but I assume that nearly everyone in this is a real person.
Yeah, well, it's funny you said it though, Michael, because I didn't like the beginning of this movie. I felt it was just they're showing instead of telling, and it felt repetitive and a little slow. Because the second that they leave the base on the raid, it's like I'm hooked, I'm there. But the first 20 minutes kind of seemed a little meandering and a little bit like repetitive. Maybe they're trying to do that to be like this is normal, this is what's going to happen, whatever. But honestly, it's probably because they didn't know what to do with the script and didn't want to get political and shit, so they didn't really know what to do. So they just draw a nice neutral line that doesn't work either way. But it gets
I think it's difficult because like there is a lot of like I shouldn't say a lot. There is not a whole lot of character development and things like that. It is, and I think that if I was going to say
for one day of action, there's not a lot of character development.
I know that, but like
never would have guessed that.
No, but it's just
Never
it's.
would've
I mean,
guessed
it's not. There's no way around it really. But so it's like in the opening, that's what they're trying. They're trying their best to like develop these characters and introduce them and all that stuff. And there's like a billion of them, so it's a hard task to tackle. As a screenwriter, as a director, and all that.
right, but I will chime in here though that again, multiple times I've said this statement. I have bonded with these characters so much better than I have done with any single one of the characters from Thin Red Line.
Well, yeah, that's because this movie's better.
but my point is that I think there is characters of I think there's I like to say it's viewership development. You are developing a tie with this character that you care for, you know? And I think, there's may not be a lot of arcing character development within a story, but there's a lot of viewership development for you to care that this, like, even this guy who we did, you know, who calls his wife, and he's one of the Delta guys. I can't remember his name.
I think that's Scoop or
Hoot.
was it Gordo and Shoop? I can't remember. I'll have to look it up. But
Yeah. But like, you know, you are bonding with these characters to follow them on a journey that you don't know where they're going to end up with. And I guess if I'm going to compare it to Thin Red Line, is that they don't give you the time or any time in the movie to develop the viewer to develop that relationship with the character.
No. That's why I say it's a difficult thing to do.
Right. I just want to clarify that. I hope you're not saying it for this movie, even if we're not comparing it to Thin Red Line. This movie has that viewership development.
Well, that's most of Ridley Scott's movies. He's way more about the situation rather than, like, you know, character studies and all that. And he's good at it. So, you know, he was the right choice for this.
Yeah.
The problem is with this one, it's like there were so many like actual guys. It's pretty recent that were there, and the names, like even for myself, like I got like overwhelmed by the names of like the Rangers, the Delta guys, the pilots, and all that shit. The command staff. It's like there's so many people. Like, how do you actually do that in a movie? How do you actually convey that and like build that character development? Well, they don't know their names, but like it's the facial recognition, in my opinion. That like, okay, we know these guys, that guy, right? You know, this guy, you know, and all that stuff. It's like, but there's so many characters in the film that were there and did these things that we just don't know because it's so many. They're like, oh, this is PFC so and so, this is Specialist so and so, this is, you know, Sergeant so and so. And so, yeah, that was it's a weird thing, but like I understand. I don't fault Scott or the writers or the producers for that, but it's just like, and the colonel too. It's like the lieutenant colonel. It's like, okay, you know his face, you don't know his rank, you don't know like who he's in charge of, like whatever. But it's like, and what's funny is this is a very small operation. Like, as far as these guys are concerned, they had like 100 guys on the ground.
180, I think. But yeah, super small.
Yeah, 180. Very small, very small. But there's so many guys, and like, yeah, who do you get the audience to fall in love with and like relate to? You know what I mean? And it's like, I relate to about 4 or 5 characters out of the probably 20 that they introduced. You know?
Yeah, I think originally I read that there was 68, and they had to. They went from, they had everyone, because I guess in the book it has everyone listed out, and they said, okay, we got to condense that into something, so they condensed it into 68, and then from there they went even smaller than that in the editing, and it's like you just have to do that, you know, it's just
right,
part of it.
You have to, but it's like that's kind of the thing that, like, you know, it's like it's relatable, yes, but like as far as character development, you literally cannot do that in this scenario because you're portraying a real scenario and you're listing real names and like people that were involved, and trying to make people understand, or help people understand rather, what actually fucking happened in this catastrophe of an operation, and you just can't do that. And so, yeah. You know, like you can't do it.
Oh yeah.
Unless you've got like, you know, 10 hours and it's like a fucking documentary series.
Yeah, a mini series,
you know?
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do it.
Oh.
So.
Just to chime in here, I can't remember his name. Even as a teenager, I was like, why is the comedian I see on TV in all like the B-rated like raunchy comedy films of the mid 2000s here in a war film? And I always thought that was like, so I can't remember his name. What's his name?
You gotta look it up.
It's his character.
Shit.
Yeah, you bring it up.
Jeremy Piven. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the pilot who dies.
Yeah, which, but you know, he works though. He does. It's weird.
It was funny. I was watching this with Jamie, and she's like, "I fucking hate that guy, that actor. I'm like,
he's in like a new hair regrowing commercial right now, like, all over the place.
he's been going bald his whole
guy
life.
Did he play? He played a pilot, but like which pilot?
He's
like the first guy, like the first
pilot.
Blackhawk.
He's the first Blackhawk, but he's the guy saying like limbo is not a word.
Yeah, that like the guy that's talking shit.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
They remove his body from the chopper. They cut it out with a diamond saw in the end. Yeah, that guy.
That's it right there.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I would have never known he was a comedian.
Yeah.
He was in like all like the early 2000 like shitty fucking comedy films.
But again, if you can do the fucking role, you can do it well. Who gives a fuck?
I didn't have a problem.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh no, I didn't have a problem with him either. I just, as a kid or as a teenager, I always
But
be
yeah,
like,
you
why is he in
recognize
it?
him.
Yeah, why
Yeah,
is he in this
yeah,
movie?
yeah.
This is a serious movie. Why is he in here? And now it's like
it's so like in our generation, like Bill Burr, right?
right.
Mm-hmm.
We all know Bill Burr.
Yes.
He was in Breaking Bad.
Yep.
Yes, and that threw me off too, but I loved him in that too.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: is he played a guy that was similar to his like kind of persona, but like it was believable to like that's not Bill Burr, that's this character.
Yeah,
you know, and so it's like it's fucking amazing. So cool. I didn't know that.
I mean, that happens a lot. But I was doing that through the first, 20 minutes with everyone in this. I'm like, oh, look, there's that guy. Oh, look, there's that dude. I was like, oh, look, it's Jamie Lannister way before, Game of Thrones.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It was a fun little game, to play.
But with that, so would you guys agree that like I think the acting, I'm not talking about the writing, I'm talking about the acting was actually very fucking good.
Yeah, they
on all parts.
They all brought it. Yeah, they were all good.
Even bad accents, the acting's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yes, and I actually didn't notice those, so you guys, that's new to me. And usually I'm the asshole that notices that shit. Mm-hmm. But like I didn't in this
Maybe
one.
it's because I'm super now sensitive after doing this podcast for almost a year now.
Oh.
I don't know. For some reason, for some reason,
You called me on it like 3 times. I'm like talking to my mom, and I'm like, "Yeah, I know," and you're just like, "No,
No.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm an asshole too, so that's why I was like, I should have. I might have recognized it. It may not have registered. Like, who knows? But like, as far as I know, like the acting, like, so and the way they're wearing their gear, right? We're watching this right now. The way they're actually wearing their gear, the Delta guys and the Rangers and everything, it's actually fucking accurate. Mm-hmm. Like it's, and they do it the whole film. Like it's not just like
They're the ones that are most telling to me that these guys care about what they're doing and care about, or going the extra mile, is the few scenes where they fall. There's a few good scenes where like they fall, and you could tell that like 1 or 2 of them like that wasn't planned. That was a curb that is now here. And
dude,
what do they do?
Like they kept it in there because that's literally how it goes. I don't care how elite you are. Rangers are elite. Delta, the JSOC, they're elite troops, right?
CAG now.
They're really good at what they do. They still are humans. They still fuck up. They have things happen. They'll trip over shit. They'll fall. And yes, you're correct. I like the way that like these guys like falling over shit. And I'm like, it's pretty accurate because it's like anybody on a combat field, even SEALs, right? Because they're not. I don't know if there's any SEALs actually involved with this because JSOC is like everybody.
Yeah,
but like
I think it was all Army, but
yeah, but like, dude, even SEAls fall. Like they're human beings. Like you can't predict, especially on a battlefield. You cannot predict the debris that's in front of you. You go, okay, we need to go there. Okay, cool, and then you run out, and this little thing catches your foot, and you fucking eat shit, right? And it's like, yeah, that's realistic. Yes.
How many
This is also
times
realistic,
did you rip your dick off on the back of a fucking truck jumping out, Mike?
A couple times.
Yeah. See.
A deuce and a half or a 5 ton.
it's just too large. That's why.
Yeah, it's
Like you ever see the cheese wheel hats?
It got caught on the fucking tailgate, and it fucking hindered me from landing correctly.
my own joke just fucking.
I know that's making
not good.
That's making my legs tight.
It's
So,
like
Nate.
it's like when you see a TNT explode in a cartoon. That's what the end looks like after that.
Actually, yeah. It's like a fucking banana peel. Like it's not great.
Yeah.
So Nate, you want to retry your fucking joke or
No. I know you don't. That's why I know.
Did
Look,
it land like I landed when it fucking peeled open? And,
Oh God, stop it.
this is why I riffed off you, because I know you can dish it right back, and then we just keep riffing until we get
good.
I have a
distracted
worse
again.
ball story if we're going to talk about that, but
nope, we're not going to talk about that.
We'll leave that for another time. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I never
Meanwhile,
caught
in the
my fucking
Philippines.
balls. Yeah.
Sign up for the Patreon. It might be behind the scenes.
this is those
we
shorts
could
that
actually
you're
do
talking
that,
about. Yeah.
it's when it turns into CBT.
I did want to, if we're talking about
Next week on MTV Scarred.
CBT Mogadishu.
oh my God, if we are talking about gear and shit like that, though, I did want to ask, how come the Delta guys, they have completely different like headgear and all that stuff?
Okay,
they
do
wear
you know
bike
what
helmets
those
a lot.
actually were?
No.
Bike helmets.
Those were literally skateboard helmets.
That's
Plastic.
they look like
No,
it.
I'm
so,
not
yeah.
shitting you.
I know, but they
were
look like
literally
it.
skateboard helmets. They were crash helmets. So like they were more focused on because they're really fast moving, as you can see in this film.
Mm-hmm.
They're very fast moving. Ballistically, if they're gonna get shot, they're gonna get shot. But like they're so fast, it has to be lightweight, modular, and like at that point not modular, but like it has to be lightweight and just protect their head against like banging into shit. Right. That was the whole idea.
Kind of like a tanker's helmet. You know, it's not going to.
That's what it
exactly.
kind of
It's
looked
just
like.
gonna-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and they literally had skateboard helmets.
And that
That's
evolved.
literally what they did. Yeah,
That evolved, if people know this, into the ballistic, helmets like the fast,
fast
helmets and
helmet.
stuff. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
And that's where it
yep.
come out of. Or the Mitch 2000s was another thing where they're trying to cut down Mitches and things like that. And Mitch 2002s as well. That
well,
was
they were
thing.
trying to cut down Pasgets. And,
Yeah, yep.
but they were like, we can move with like, we're good to go. It doesn't hinder us. And they were like, well, okay, let's make this. But it's like their helmets are plastic,
Yeah.
ABS plastic, and a fast helmet is Kevlar, which weighs a lot more, and so it does weigh you down. But like, if your neck muscles are not like ridiculously like weak, you can do it, right? Anybody in the military is going to have good neck muscles, like again, and so that's where the fast helmet came out of. But like in this, like in '93. They were literally like plastic fucking helmets that they wore. They're like crash helmets. And
Interesting.
Yeah, they wore them to move faster and to not have extra gear, and it works.
The Delta guys look legit as fuck in this with their black vests
Yes.
and everything too.
For
like,
93,
Oh,
for 93,
yeah.
fuck yeah.
There was a lot
fuck
of
yeah.
And before we were recording, me and Mike talked a little bit about this, but like even the helmets for the Rangers and stuff, there's a ton of little things going on. Like they have ties for the goggles, so they don't fly off. If you notice, a lot of them, they don't give a shit and they'll be in the back of their helmets. Well, that's because they're hanging there, and also there's no glare there. I mean, there's so many little things if you really look into it. The IR strobe, by the way, really fucking cool. Not a lot of people that do not go into the military know about that stuff. Like
Really quick, let's
IR
go back to
strobes are
the goggles. Mm-hmm. Do you know what model those are?
M44.
Yeah.
Yep.
They didn't update those fuckers until like a year into the GWAT.
Yep.
Wow.
They literally didn't. Like they had the M44s. Like guys are rolling into Baghdad with the M1944 model dust goggles until like just 20 years ago. It was gonna be landing more, but I'm like, yeah, it is 20 years ago. Jesus Christ, I feel old.
That's insane. That it's
90.
But yeah, no, it's
longest
seriously
issue goggle.
Oh, we don't have dust to deal with, whatever. And it's like, well, the dust we do have to deal with is, in Vietnam and shit, like artillery guys, I've heard, would wear those, because of whatever. And it's like, well, we don't have to improve them. Nobody's complained.
And to me, at least, growing up in the early 2000s, late 90s, like this is your classic, 90s American infantryman. Desert, DBUs with M44 goggles and a Pascal helmet or Fritz helmet, or whatever the fuck you want to call it for the time. It's like, with an A2 and ready to go. Like this is, I remember getting GI Joes like this when I was a kid.
Oh, dude, me too. Like GI Joes with that, what they call it, the chocolate chip cookie camo.
Yeah, the chip pattern. Yep.
Yeah,
it's
the
cool
one Mike
because-
has. Yeah.
Yeah,
Perfect.
And it's interesting because while we're on it, so chip was developed for fighting the Middle East, but it was developed in the Mojave Desert.
It actually wasn't.
Well, it was the 70s, but that was the idea that if something cooked off of Israel, we had to go.
But you know where it was developed, right?
That was Mojave Desert. It was out
Yes.
west in America. Yeah.
And it was strictly the American desert in California.
Yeah. So that was the problem.
And so the whole story about like why, because like I'll actually make a video on this, a short and a video, is the 6 color. It works. It actually does. I've seen it in real life. Like in Iraq, I saw the Iraqis wearing 6 color. It works to an extent. It's a little bit dark. Okay, it stands out. When we got to Kuwait and Iraq and Saudi Arabia in 90 and 91, we realized, oh shit, it's a lot lighter than the Mojave Desert. It's a lot brighter colored, like it really is. The sun is more intense. The light reflects differently. And so they came out with this 3 color pattern in like 91 or 92. And they started issuing that. Now, a lot of the guys that went to Somalia in 92 and 93 were going to be wearing chocolate chips. This is what they had. Okay? The elite guys, like the Rangers, like we see in this film, and the Delta guys are going to be wearing the newer 3 color pattern because it was so new, it wasn't being mass produced enough to outfit the entire military.
Just to cut in, it's the DBDU, which is the Desert Battle Force uniform, is the chocolate chip pattern, and then the DCU, the Desert Camouflage uniform, is what was the new one, and that came out. You see some photos of the tail end of the Gulf War with high-ranking officers wearing.
That's why I said 91, 92.
Yeah, so
that's why I say that. Yeah,
the chip was mostly the camo of, or 95% the camo that was used in the Gulf War Desert Storm, but DCU actually was there. And do you know the nickname for DCU? The joke at the time? You have chocolate chip
stain.
and then you have coffee stain pattern. That's what they used to call it. Because it looks like a fucking coffee stain. So
exactly.
But yeah,
it's actually it's way better than 6 color in this environment, like in the Middle Eastern environment, and Somalia is the Middle East.
And this is,
as far as the environment's concerned, yes.
Oh yeah, this is also the period of time that you get guys that would start to modify the uniforms and remove the bottom pockets and put them on the tops, and you get SOP mods and things like that. You know, so it's very interesting for like gear wise and shit. It's late 80s, early 90s. Oh, the brass scene. But no, the gear is fucking. The more I watch it, the more I'm just like, wow, this is fucking. Like, I think the only thing I saw that could be wrong, and I have to make sure I saw it, was there was a Prick 10 radio in it. Which is a very early.
Yeah, I don't know about radios, but like, yeah, you could probably spot that more than me. Yeah,
that was the only thing that I was questionable about. Also, that they're all on the same radio net, like every movie that we see. But obviously, that's how you move.
They're not. Along. They're not actually, because they have to actually the TOC or the general basically has to call down to that fucking helicopter who is like probably the battalion commander.
Yeah.
And they're not on the same channel, or else these guys would have heard that. And so the battalion commander has
stuff, but it could be
Mike's right. Yeah, they were
okay.
The general was talking to the overall, and then the overall was talking to everyone else.
So besides those two things, though, there was nothing else that I was like, what the fuck? And also, while we're on this, holy fuck, no armor on your Humvee, like
no.
It took me.
They rolled
into
Iraq like that too.
Yeah, well, I remember that, but like again, you hear about the Battle of Mogadishu and how crazy it is, and it's like, oh yeah, they did that drive with no fucking up armor. Like
nothing.
Just insane. No wonder all those.
It's a
fucking guys
Jeep
got domed.
that's wider.
Oh yeah, literally. Yeah.
That's all.
And less reliable.
It's literally.
It's
exactly.
And that's why I'm laughing.
Oh, it's diesel. Yeah, it's diesel.
100% right.
It's a Jeep that's wider that runs on diesel. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's all it is. The Humvee, every person who has never had to deal with the Humvee loves it. And I'm like, I've had to deal with them and the up-armored ones, the 1115s, right? They're horseshit fucking vehicles. If you don't have a fucking plethora of people behind you with parts that can replace it in 3 hours, whatever, they're a piece of shit. They're a hunk of shit. And it's like,
literally.
The Humvee is a piece of shit.
I was waiting for Mike to be like, yeah, it sucked. My little fan didn't work.
I remember
the fans weren't in the regular Humvees. They were in the 1115s. They also didn't work half the time. So
when I worked on a military base for a couple months, or for just month and a half. They would bring those in every time they would park them. They had a pan they would put underneath it to collect the oil that leaked out of it. I was like, then I'm like, does that mean there's a problem? They're like, no, it just does that. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, they're pieces of shit.
The problem is when it stops leaking, because then there's no oil to come out of it. That's how you know you're really fucked. If you're leaking, you're good. So.
Yeah, it's like a Chinook with fucking hydraulic fluid. When they flew over us, like, it's like, okay, they're leaking fluid. Okay, that means they're good.
Speaking of vehicles, just real quick, Brian, did you notice that there were some Jeeps in there? Some World War II Jeeps?
No, I didn't actually.
I'll have to find it because I thought you had seen it, and then I was just it was back here. It was they're getting like ready here, and it's like one shot. I'll find it. They had like two Jeeps, but I don't know if they're post-war or wartime.
I saw
they were rust buckets for damn sure.
I saw like the same Volkswagen Safari bus that's been rusted out like 16 different times. There's a bunch of different angles of it, like from the front and the back.
And some donkey cart, you know.
I like the donkey cart. I love that transition.
Oh no, I love that scene. That scene's great.
Like, they're close by.
It's just But no, it's good.
You must love all the
G3s, which I also like. Yeah.
There's a really good close-ups of some like Setmies even because they have wood stocks. And
Setmies,
stuff
yep,
the end.
correct.
Yeah,
they were. Yep. And they would have gotten that shit from anywhere.
Dude, like when I saw the arms market, I'm like, I would buy so much stuff. Like, obviously, I would be, taken hostage and
those. Now that I paused it, those look like post-war Jeeps, but
play it. Yeah, this is when they have the I love the recoilless rifle.
Well, it's only like
the Chinese one.
It's only like 10.
Yeah.
It's only like
just play it.
Literally 3 seconds long.
It's long enough, Nate. I'll be able to say.
Okay. Yeah, you are that person. So yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's a disease.
That's the post-war Willys.
Yep. Yeah. I saw the back.
They're 50s. They're 3As, or they could be a little later. So
yeah. I saw them out
rounded
of the corner
hoods.
of my eye, so yeah.
I didn't even notice it. So
I saw those I saw those trucks with like no cabs.
Those were actually used by the Israeli bought a bunch of commercial Jeeps in the late 40s, and they just put MG34s on them, like right from the factory. And also South Vietnam, they bought a shit ton of factory Jeeps just like that, and they used them in their army. So it's funny, commercial Jeeps like that were actually totally used by militaries around the world. So it isn't necessarily wrong. There's a ton of great photos of like South Vietnamese generals and like civilian red Jeeps and stuff in the late 60s. Again, to comment on like some of the crazier wounds and stuff, like rounds going through plate carriers, like that was really horrible but cool to see. Because it happens. It's because
they don't stop shit.
It's not made for an AK. Like
no,
especially that close.
At that point, they didn't have AR-500. It was like mild steel.
Yep.
It was heavy as fuck.
Oh, good point.
The guys didn't want to carry the plates because they were stupid. And it's like, even if you do get hit with an AK or a PKM or some shit like that,
you're fucked anyway.
You're fucked.
My Soviet Afghan war friend vet would say that when they would always they'd rip the plates off, or they would just not wear plate carriers, and we were like, why? And he goes, hey, you're gonna get shot anyway. Like, okay, hey, you know what? That's an argument. So.
Well, the armor was much improved by them, but like, hey.
Oh yeah. That's a crazy thing, It's like a lot of things have changed in the last 30 years. Wow, it's been 30 years. Fuck.
You did the same thing Mike just did earlier.
Yes, you are that old.
Look, Brian,
in my head,
70s,
20 years ago is still like 1990.
Look,
I know.
Look, Brian, the 90s are now the 70s. Get used to it.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Wow, 30 years. Well, it's good. It's cool that we're doing this stuff. I mean, yeah. It's crazy. I knew a 10th Mountain Division guy.
Scuttlebutt brings you Brian's existential crisis.
My MI friend, who will get on here eventually, was doing other spook shit in the Mediterranean, and they rushed him there to find Michael Durant. He was there for a few months. He got some funny stories, but that's crazy. 30 years ago, holy fuck! And this whole sequence is great with it. They get shot down. I really did like this.
Yes,
because but when your tail rotor goes out, it's not like a whoop kind of thing. It's like it's a gradual, controlled. You're fighting the whole time.
Yeah.
And especially when the other one gets knocked out too, like you see the tail rotor rip into it.
Here's a fun thing, Brian, really quick, and then we'll get off that.
Yeah.
So I was in Iraq 13 years ago.
Wow. Insane.
Wow.
13 years ago.
Jeez.
Were you an I Corps or second Corps?
There were no cores in my war, sonny.
Black boot.
Let me tell you.
Tan boots or whatever.
Well, yeah, there were 10 boots, but like it's like 13 years ago already. Like 13 fucking years.
Insane. I got a fucking multicam plate carrier. What do you think about that kid? Or a woodland colored plate carrier. What do you think about that, kid? Like, that's probably before your time.
Well, I had UCP, which was even more fun.
Ooh-wee. Yeah, right.
Ooh-wee, yeah. But that fucking pattern, goddamn. But yeah. Anyway,
And while we're on it and talk about acting and stuff, I really think this is Tom Sizemore's best role. I mean,
I really do too. Like, he actually did a great job.
he's on it the whole fucking time. From
Yep.
you know the second where he tells the Air Corps guys like, well, you're in the air and we're on the ground, it fucking sucks for us. But like the whole time he owns it. And I think one of my favorite scenes for him is where he's like, we're going back to base, and they're all fucked. Like, you know, the convoy's just halfway through.
Well,
the
yeah,
ground.
he actually says negative. We're fucked.
And like they go to
He
drive
just go
away.
like, we can do it. We
Yeah.
can do it. You know, let's just push through.
That's like
he,
one of
he
the-
goes, yeah, we're fucked.
Sorry. The one guy fucking
No,
like
that's
the
fine.
glass breaks and everything, and he's like, "Stay on the gas."
Yep.
You know,
I
he's
love
controlling
that,
it all the time.
He's
Yep.
steering. Yeah.
But when they drive away back to base, like all the men in his Humvee are dead, and there's nobody on the gun. And he's like, "We're just drive," you know. And it was like, that's just crazy to think about.
we're
you know?
fucked.
It's like we're
We're
fucked.
fucked,
Yeah,
yeah.
just drive.
Yep.
Yeah, it's too bad Tom Sizemore wasn't in more stuff.
Well, he is such a, you know, it's unfortunate history with addiction and stuff, and he's such like a lot of these amazing guys. Because I also think he's amazing in Heat. Holy fuck, which is around the same era.
Heat's good.
So
Yep.
good in
Yep.
that. And you know, SPR, whatever, but I don't really feel like he shines. He just is like
No.
this strange sergeant.
SPR, he was just kind of there.
He's
yeah.
muted.
Yeah,
just
he's
kinda there.
muted in SPR to me.
Yeah.
He's cool. He's good, and he's a role, but he doesn't shine like in this. And
Right.
yeah,
And like meanwhile in this, like he's just, and not even that they're one-liners, but he just delivers them really well. Like at the end, he's like, "I heard you need a ride," like all this other stuff. You know, it's like it just shows it.
It's a morale booster. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
a guy who's
Yep.
going through a situation, who's just going to get through it, and he's just dealing with the facts of it. You know,
Well, he
not,
also plays
not
it very
getting
well 'cause,
hyped
like,
or whatever. Just like
he's a fucking BC, so he's a battalion commander.
yeah,
I'm sorry. The Somalian with his fucking jacket on in like 90-degree heat,
yeah.
wearing like a winter
Yeah.
coat.
Probably not going to happen.
He
I
should be
don't
wearing
know-
a life vest.
I don't know why. There were some weird extras like
Yeah.
that were getting killed. There was a dude in like a bright neon like ski mask. There was like
You see that shit though. If you like
yeah.
look into it, like I know, like
it was
Yeah,
like
you-
it was a
yeah.
guy with like a boonie hat, and, like green weird like t-shirts, like and like full face mask. It just,
that guy had his AK sight up. That's funny. His rear sight. Go back.
Oh really? Oh,
Yeah.
Did he?
But you do see that kind of crazy shit in the Horn of Africa, right?
Oh,
now.
I'm sure. Yeah. Oh
See?
yeah.
Rear
Oh,
sight's all
yeah,
the way.
yeah.
Guess he fought in
Shooting,
Rhodesia.
shooting to the moon and that. Yeah.
No, it's just a really great film, you know, and it's like I really want to build an A2 now after watching this. Oh, and the green name tapes too. That was really neat to see.
Yes.
You know,
well,
the
that was
mix of
also
things.
like. Well, here's the thing: is in Desert Storm they started to do the tan name tapes, right? Mm-hmm. But until about you even see it in OIF 1, they still have green name tapes,
Interesting.
like the woodland ones. So yeah, that's very accurate.
It's like the white name tapes in Vietnam early on. You know, it's just that extra bit of color.
Well, no, they got rid of those really fucking quick.
Oh yeah, but still, just a little around.
But like, yes, you on frontline troops, no, you're not going to see it. But like, as far as this is concerned, like again, they're wearing fucking woodland camo fucking vests.
Yeah,
That
which was
wasn't a
another
priority.
thing in Iraq too. You see early
Yes,
on.
my dad fucking had woodland cover on his IBA when he was there in 04 and 05. He literally did.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So, and then they went to UCP, which is it fixes everything. So.
Yeah, once it got replaced.
Yeah.
But yeah,
God, I love the fact that Ewan McGregor has to dodge an RPG like every five minutes.
Yeah, dude. Also, RPGs are a lot faster.
That was
Yes.
I mean,
That is the, I did want to comment on that, and I feel we're saving for the weapons part a little bit more, but yeah, like
Yeah, these things would have been.
It wasn't Hyena Road. Someone tossed a Nerf football down a road levels of slow, but it was like
They're
know.
leaving
Yeah,
these.
it was for the cinematic effect.
And they're leaving these
And
big
so,
plumes of smoke. Yeah, it's
right.
Yeah.
And well, they leave trails, but like so the guy that gets hit and he gets stuck in him, right? I don't know if
yeah.
that was true or not, but like
That can happen.
that's actually actually feasible because the armor, quote unquote, on the Deuce and a half that he was driving probably would not have been enough to set off the fucking impact to like set off the shape charge.
It's like 16 gauge steel. Oh yeah, fucking
Yeah,
even a
it's like-
plate
it's
carrier
like-
wouldn't set it off. It's not. It's too mild of a steel.
Well, but it depends. Like sometimes it does. A lot of times it does.
Sure,
But like
funny.
it's not out of the. It's not impossible for that whole rocket to have gone through him.
Yeah.
So
I have a question for you, Mike. Probably because you've seen them in real life, obviously. Impacts of RPGs did they seem accurate or were they Michael Bay?
I've heard them. I've never seen them.
Okay.
Again,
Whether you saw them in training or whatnot, I assumed you'd have a more
no. I
realistic
actually never seen
world
one
or
go
whatever.
off. I've heard them go off, but I've never seen one. But like the ones that I've heard go off sound like really, really, really fucking big grenades.
See, right there, that one that went by, we're at the scene of the
Right.
first helicopter. There was an RPG that goes by. That one was fast.
So just
You
while
know.
we're on
Well,
the
they're
subject-
like lightning speed. Like you can't fucking see them.
Okay.
it's like a
Just-
They're
bullet.
really.
Again, okay.
Well, it depends.
So
Again, that depends on how far you are away. But,
Right,
like, that
right,
one is
yeah.
like within 100 yards. It's gonna be really fucking fast.
Okay.
Don't they self-destruct if they don't hit anything in like a?
There's a
No.
range. I think there is.
I think there's a range. Yeah.
Well, it's all. Well, no, I've never heard that.
There's some ordnance like that.
There's some ordinance.
I think the
but
more
I don't
modern
know.
RPGs do, but not not back in the day.
Yeah, the rockets that they would have is like they're unreliable. They're old. They've been stored not so well, probably.
A lot of times the propellants
And-
don't work. Yeah, because you
Right.
got to screw together. And just while we're on it,
Yeah. Oh, god damn that scene.
so
yeah. Yep.
it happened. It was real. It was the guy's name was
Yep.
Richard
Yep.
Kowalski. His nickname was Alphabet because the guys didn't want to say his long last name.
Of course, ski. We call the guy, the Polish guys, ski.
Anyone with
Yeah.
the Polish last
He-
name is Alphabet. Yep.
He was
Yep.
20 years old. He was a ranger, and he was one of the 18 casualties of the Battle of Mogadishu. And he was killed by an RPG that was fired through the cabin of a 5-ton truck he was driving, which was part of the main ground convoy, severing his left arm and getting lodged in his torso. So that 100%
And
actually
they did
happen.
show his left arm.
Rest
severed
in
That's what I
too.
say. It's not impossible, but it's like that's a fucked up way to go.
Yeah. At
Oh
least
my
it's
god!
quick,
And then,
kind of.
well,
Hopefully,
in your torso,
God willing.
When your whole bodily cavity is ripped open like that, it doesn't take long.
you're
You know,
still
like,
you're still alive for a bit, dude.
seconds. But I know what you mean, but it's
No, it's minutes. It's not seconds. It's minutes. It's not a quick death. It's just you're sitting there. You can't move.
There's
Oh,
no
God.
quick death in nature. I'll just say that.
Yeah, there is a headshot.
Oh,
You're
well,
done.
I mean in nature, like fucking pre-guns, everything is
Oh,
brutal.
okay. Pre-guns.
Well, it's like
I don't
not
know
to
if
get
you
off at a tangent, but yeah.
No, like the quickest death is like your entire, like a good chunk of your brain is like done.
Oh yeah.
And that can happen like if a tree falls on you or some shit.
Don't
that can
stop.
happen.
Believe.
What is it? The Sopranos reference?
Yes, there you
Okay.
go. Yeah, there you
Yes,
go.
I mean, like, I didn't know you were gonna stoop that fucking low. But like, okay, I was just like, well, but it's Nate, so I'll just guess it.
Yeah.
Speaking of tripping, that one scene where the guy walks out through the door and the fucking dude shoots the other guy.
Yep,
Like,
right there.
fucking- yeah. Fucking crazy. But that's what happens in combat. You almost shoot each other.
Dude, ridiculous shit happens. You notice the kid's wearing a fucking LC2 setup?
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Where'd he get that from?
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
You know? But it's, again,
Again-
we had no business being there, and I guess the guys didn't know that, but like, it's your mission. And it just pissed me off because, like, I know a guy who was a Marine there. And he actually has a combat action ribbon from being in Somalia because when this shit kicked off, it got worse.
Yeah.
And then they pulled him out. And so yeah, it was just like
a lot of
fucking-
people say that the reason that you can get political, but the reason we pulled out was the reason that 9/11 happened. I mean, it's
No, it's not. It's just if you're gonna go somewhere and do something like that, follow through. They never got the general.
yeah,
they never
It
did.
was all half measures at the end.
Well,
of the day,
that's
unfortunately.
that's one thing that I liked about this, though, was that the
Yeah.
objective just completely just fell to the wayside, and all it was about was staying alive. That's just,
Yep.
just survive. Let's just survive this.
I have
That's-
my orders. I must follow my orders.
That
Do not give me an
whole
order. It wasn't anything like that.
sequence
No.
of Tom Sizemore getting fucked, his convoy getting royally fucked in the ass, was 1 hour long. That was it. Like, fuck, it's insane.
Well, it's
Like,
I loved how
know,
they had this in
insane.
real time, and they had the times
Yeah.
like popping up. And when that happened, I was just like, "Fuck, that was only an hour." Like, I mean, it seems like a
Yep.
lifetime of things happened.
Yep.
Right, and that's the thing is like
Motherfucker.
combat can either be really slow or really fast. And in this case, you're literally in the worst possible fucking scenario you could possibly be in. We I guess the military learned something from this, but they also didn't because we repeated a lot of this shit in the early days of Iraq and Afghanistan. Like we did the same shit,
Ramadi.
like running Ramadi, fucking Fallujah, fucking running convoys through fucking towns. Urban warfare is the absolute fucking worst. Didn't we learn that in Stalingrad? No, we didn't because we're gonna do it better.
Or Aachen, or away.
Right. No, I mean, you name it, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
saying for the viewers, like the most notable ones. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, we could do it better. It's like, no, you fucking can't. It sucks. I don't give a shit if you guys are wearing full fucking body armor. That small arms fire it's impenetrable. They'll be like, oh well, we'll just plant more IEDs that can punch through that. Like. It's urban warfare is fucking terrible, and then also you can't move in the body armor, which is fun. But this scenario that they were in is literally the worst fucking scenario you can be in.
And it all comes down to bodies. That's all it is. There's nothing that's going to help you take that house except for men, or that's it. And that's why it's just horrendous.
And you've got better equipment, sure. You're more well trained, I guess. Yes, you are very, but. This movie proves that, like, because these guys are Rangers, right? They're an elite force in the United States military. They got fucking destroyed.
Yeah.
In this,
they did also get their shit pushed in Grenada, by the way. If you read into that, the Cubans fucked them up. But
right, but it wasn't to the scale that they. It was. It's like. In Afghanistan, they kind of learned a lot more about combat, and they also took a shitload of casualties.
A lot of very early battles, yeah.
So, like, but what I'm saying is, like, this is America's quote-unquote elite fighting force, right? And if some militia guys that have an AK with a couple of fucking mags, no training, and just the will to kill, can fuck up U.S. Army Rangers like this in Mogadishu in 93... How the fuck do we think it's going to be any different nowadays?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
With the advent of drones and shit. Oh, fuck.
Well, drones, that's a different conversation. But
these videos coming out of the Ukraine are just insane. Fucking
it's
every
not
inch
good.
of every space around you is now a threat. I mean, imagine if they had
it's
that
not
kind of
good.
shit in this battle. Fucking some dude with a $200 drone dropping a mortar round on you. Because you watched the building you went into.
Or
Like,
the
fuck.
U.S.
You're
The U.S.
fucked.
would have had them too. Like,
Oh, everybody, yeah.
but it's like,
that really became like one of the main things I noticed in that movie. Mosul?
Mosul, yeah.
Mosul, yeah. Was those moments? I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, that's the scariest thing.
Well, because they did a really good job of it in Mosul, and you hear a lot about it when you watch footage. Yeah, from the battles and stuff. But the car bombs are the worst. That's where everybody yells car bomb, like on the whole fucking net, because you don't know where they're gonna go, and you just have to put as many fucking rounds into it to get that guy to fucking die. That's the only thing that's gonna stop that fucking car, and that's one thing I'll never forget. Like, you watch any of the Vice documentaries where they're embedded with these Peshmerga guys, and it's all like, fucking, we got a vehicle, even like these little fobs, so there's nothing around them. It's like a fucking truck coming out of nowhere.
Well,
like, you
that's
pour
the shit
everything in
that
that
they
motherfucker.
learn how to do to us in like Iraq and Afghanistan, mostly Iraq, is they would roll up in a fucking vehicle and they would have that thing completely loaded, like with like an insane amount of C4 152 rounds,
Low suspension
fucking
to
rockets.
low suspension to the gills. Yeah.
Correct. And like they would be riding, and they're like, look out for this shit. And several times when I was over there, it fucking happened. And it was like, we don't know how this happened. I'm like, okay, that's great. A bunch of det cord just went missing from our fucking stockpiles. And we were supposed to look for that, but like, oh, a fucking V-bid just went off? Weird. But yeah, anyway, back to the gear. Yes, so having your gear tied down as an infantryman, right? Even if you're not a ranger or whatever, that's a really important thing because these guys show that. Like, if you don't have your gear tied down, it's going to fall off. You're going to lose it.
Yeah. And everything
don't-
too, like the goggles and all that stupid shit. Like especially because they repel.
No,
and stuff.
that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
everything should be, your canteens should be tied to your fucking equipment.
Yep.
Everything. And so they do it pretty well in this film.
That part was painful right there. I mean, there's a lot of real painful things in this, but when he's
guy
shooting
goes deaf.
the machine gun
Yeah.
right next to his head, I'm just like,
Yep, the
oh
saw.
my god.
I was at
Yes.
Gap. There's this reenactment they used to do once, and we were falling back. We were Germans, and this guy. I'm like halfway running across the road, and this guy kind of was a dick. He throws a MG42 on my shoulder.
Oh, and he does that
God
thing
Damn it! Yeah. He did that thing, and I still don't have a lot of good hearing in my left ear. Like fucking,
because of that. Jesus.
that was 20 years. It was 15 years ago, or whatever.
And that's
You
blanks.
know? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's half the cyclic rate, or
Was it
half
a
the.
full-
Well,
actual-
it's about a third of the volume as
Yeah.
a fucking live round, and it's like, yeah, and
I do like even before that happens though, because that guy is just shooting that M60
Yeah,
for a long
I can
time.
barely hear.
And he's like, I can barely hear, and it's like I can only imagine what it's like for guys who have to just carry those things and shoot them all the time.
well, yeah, Ear Pro was not it wasn't a thing at this time,
Right.
Like it wasn't like wear
was-
your fucking ear protection.
There was always one or two. Like it's their Second World War. You hear some guys that would try to do it with cotton or anything, which doesn't work. I mean, people
It
have tried to
doesn't.
improvise at points, but yeah, there's nothing generally until 3M fixed everybody's problem.
With the high quality earplugs they provided for
Exactly.
military
So-
personnel.
Did you
This is
serve in
funny.
the military between years? Blah blah blah.
So,
blah.
am I wrong, or is this doctor fucking the guy from Modern Family?
You're 100% right. 'cause
Yeah.
it is
Oh
the
my
doc-
God.
yeah,
Because
it's-
Jamie
That was-
mentioned that, yeah.
yeah.
That was too fucking funny because he's like, he's like the Delta doctor and stuff, and I'm just like, in 20 years from now, you're fucking on like a really popular sitcom, like that like everybody knows you for a different role. So it's just maybe this is his origin story, like fucking hey, it was at Mogadishu. But I saw
Yeah,
that. and
Dude,
no,
so
I saw that too, yeah.
real speak though, really quick, if you got one Black Hawk that goes down, that's a really huge problem.
Oh yeah.
If
Oh,
you
yeah.
got two Black Hawks that go down, that's a catastrophe.
Particularly at this point, the Blackhawk was a brand new vehicle, wasn't it?
It was in the
Relatively.
70s, late 70s.
Well,
But,
how about heavily sought after with what the fuck it was?
Well, no,
right?
it's not like the stealth one they blew up in Abbottabad. It's a little
Or no,
different.
maybe I'm confusing it with fucking
Zero Dark
Asamba's.
Yes,
yeah,
those are
Asamba's
the
compound
stealth
helicopter
Blackhawks
crash,
that
yeah.
were covered in certain materials that they crashed the one and they blew it up, but then the tail rotor existed and they sold it to China for like billions of dollars because they
Yeah.
stole the technology. What's interesting
Yeah.
though,
Yeah.
so in the early 2000s, there was a group of American military historians from the U.S. government that went over to Somalia to try to look for relics of the battle, and they found shit. I believe where Super 6-4, where Durant's helicopter went down, the way it crashed, it was like in a way that the tail rotor came off and like went behind a wall, and it was fucking still there when these guys went. And they went to another part of it where the other helicopter was shot down and was scrapped. And before they scrapped it, they took the miniguns and threw it over a wall. So long story short, they recovered the miniguns from one of the helicopters and the tail rotor section from another one, and it's now at the the Joint Special Operations Museum at Fort right outside of Fort Bragg in Fayetteville, and it's fucking insane. It's the first thing you see when you walk through. It's like a shot up technical, and then parts of Super 6-1 and Super 6-4. it's like, holy shit. And they have the photo, they have an exhibit of just how they found it too, like grass growing up and shit. So it's crazy that this stuff was just forgotten. So I don't think, Nate, that was the real reason they were really worried about it. Like it was, being stolen technology. It was just fucking, you got troops on the ground that you got to rescue.
Yeah, well, that's why I asked, because
I know what you're getting at is like, it was a new technology. Like it was a good helicopter.
Yeah.
And it was expensive.
Yeah.
And that thing was taken down by a fucking RPG.
This is the guy I'm talking about, by the way, in the window. He throws a grenade at him.
That shit, in real life, that was probably a 40 millimeter that went through the window.
Yeah.
That they shot
There
through.
are there are like one or two things in this film I go, oh, come on. But that's it.
Yeah, the hand grenade thing.
Yeah, there are
the
some
hand
bad
grenade thing.
Yeah.
No good.
The CG has held up almost, but there are some CG shots that do not quite work anymore. But,
So
4K.
It was funny because like there's a bunch of guys carrying 203s on their M16s, right? Or their M4s. There's only that one scene where Ewan McGregor like goes out and shoots that vehicle while he's standing out in the fucking open.
And he
rushes out.
Yeah.
As Sean and I call that's a heckin' miss. So
that's not what you're gonna do. Like if you're shooting a fucking 40 millimeter, you're not gonna be exposing yourself because like then they know.
Well, even the Delta guy yells at him. He's like, "What the fuck?" So I agree with you, but yeah.
Maybe it happened. I don't know. I wasn't there, but like but also that's the only two fucking 40 millimeter scenes you see in the entire fucking film.
Yeah,
from what I can remember. It's like these guys have 203s, so that scene that we just watched where he apparently fucking Godspeed hurls the fucking hand grenade 150 fucking yards.
Tom Brady's it.
Hank Aaron getting into a window
and gets it right in there. Bullshit. That was somebody that they said, "Oh, you have a 203? Fucking that window right there." Mm-hmm. Thunk, boom. Okay, threats down. Let's move. Because that's how it works. And it's like, I mean, you can't throw a fucking hand grenade. Hand grenades are very heavy. Like they're actually really heavy. Like you can't throw them with that precision for that distance. You can't do it.
Yeah, they're chunks of
they're
metal.
Also really awkward. Yeah, they're like the size of a big baseball. Not quite a softball, but like they're a big baseball. And the accuracy, it's one of those things. That's bullshit. So in real life, they probably, if that scene would have happened, they would have been like, "You 203, load HE, fucking that window there, thunk, bam, done." Not, "Oh, I'm gonna go up there in a heroic fucking cinematic fucking kind of way and go."
There was one thing early in the movie that I noticed where I was like, "Oof!" and that was a Humvee is driving up and it has a 50 cal on it, and the barrel is like flapping up and down because it's a rubber prop.
It's a fucking fake,
when those opening credits rolled and I saw a Dishka, I was taking bets whether or not it would be real or not. If it was another 50 cal mock-up.
Was it? I couldn't tell.
I couldn't tell. I'm wondering if FDB's got some good close-ups.
We'll see.
Yeah, we should probably go there.
Well, to talk about one more thing, then we can move into that.
Yep.
So Gordo and Sharp's last stand.
Thank you. I was about to say I want to talk about that. Yeah.
That's 100% real in every way, shape, and form.
It's fucking brutal.
They knew their job, and that's what you do. I mean, you sometimes you just have to accept the situation, and you get into it. And fucking, if you meet real snake eaters, all they want to do is eat snakes. Like real hardcore special forces guys. So fucking opportunities like that don't exist a lot in your careers, to be honest.
And I did like the way that these guys integrated with like the Rangers, who they I mean, like we give shit, or not we. I'm not a Ranger or anything like that, but like guys give shit to each other like based on like your quote unquote status in the military, right? But when it comes to combat, everybody's fucking doing their thing, right? And I like the way that this film portrayed how it actually was, where Delta guys, who you're like, oh god, they're fucking JSOC guys, were working with Rangers, right? And they were just working with them, and like, bam, everybody knew what was going on, and it was like, it was none of that shit in the film. Like, there's not even like a snarky one-liner, and I really did appreciate that.
There was a little bit in the beginning. They're like Deltas and Rangers when they're at the base,
right? In the beginning, but like it's when you're actually doing your shit, it's like there's none of that.
In my opinion,
everybody's just like, let's do it.
this movie starts once they leave the base. You know, like the 20 minutes is whatever.
Yeah.
But once they leave, it's like fucking yeah. No, it's exactly what it would be. And it's funny again. You know, great cast. Tom Hardy. You see his face. Like there's not a lot of films where you just fucking see his whole face. So that was interesting. This is one of his first early roles too.
Yeah. This, and then he was in Band of Brothers the same year.
Yeah, it's crazy how like fucking all these dudes, you know, ended up in
And they
other
actually
shit, so.
move like the guys.
Well,
move,
the
right?
actors, I read that the actors took a 2-week ranger training course. They all participated in it.
It's funny because it's modern, so it's like I don't see any problem with the gunplay. It's not like low ready carry because low ready carry was the thing.
Isn't that guy the main kid in The Sandlot? That guy
Holy
right there.
fuck, you're right.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was watching it.
Holy shit.
Like, that's Smalls,
Smalls?
isn't it?
That's why he was bothering me the whole movie. You're absolutely 100% right.
Yeah, it's Smalls.
Yeah.
That sergeant that gets shot early on, the first KIA, isn't he in Band of Brothers too? I feel like he's the grease gun guy that gets wounded on the C-47.
No.
I'm not.
No,
okay.
that's not Cobb.
I didn't get
Oh,
enough of
yeah.
his face though, to like really make the correlation.
I've seen
For
him
some
before
reason.
too. I think he's been in other movies, but he hasn't been that.
Okay, yeah.
Let me look up. I'm curious about that. I do love the relationship between Tom Hardy's character and I'm sorry, I call him the Scottish guy because he's actually Scottish.
Yeah,
I
it's
can't
from
remember his
Trainspotting.
name. Yeah, I can't
He's
remember-
great.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
awesome.
60
very
guy.
Scottish.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's in other war movies, I think too. I'm trying to remember what.
I just pulled up the cast of this movie. It's like a fucking, columns of names.
It's insane.
So many people
know?
in this, yeah.
And it's not just like well-known people. It's well-known people that are good at acting. You know, nothing
Yep.
falls flat, or at least the way it's cut. Everybody gets their time to shine.
Nice
Yeah.
dead air there. That's good.
Sorry, I think we're all looking at
Oh
shit.
yeah, we're watching it. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, we can just cut that out, Nate. Your fucking
that out.
infinite goddamn
snip.
wisdom.
No, I might just hold it in now just to make it really awkward. Now.
Lol.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah,
so should we go to IMFDB?
I'm down.
we shall.
Yeah.
All right, penis. Are we
know.
gonna actually like go to IMFDB, or are you just gonna sit here and?
No, you want to watch the movie? We're gonna watch the movie now. We're gonna stay here.
We've watched the fucking movie.
No. You're watching it. That's
Just watch the movie with no sound.
More dead air. But Nate's not bitching about it now because it's his fault. Like, so he's not gonna bitch. The 203 scene, the one 203 scene we get out of the entire fucking film.
First one's a heckin' miss. Boom.
And also, they don't recoil that much. He's not gonna recoil up and back.
Another one.
They don't fucking. A 203 is like, tunk! It's like shooting a fucking really large paintball gun. That's what it feels like.
That's one way to put it.
No, seriously, like that's what it feels like when you shoot it. It's like a large paintball gun. It doesn't recoil. It's just kind of a, thunk! Yeah, very weird.
So now
All right.
we are on IMFDB. There actually is one for this movie. Who would have guessed? Cult Model 727. Interesting. So that's like pre-M4? Or is that the actual nomenclature for the M4?
I think that was the pre-M4 because they didn't have the M. Well, I don't want to speak because
Well, because
I don't know.
there's the M4 and the M4A1. You know, it was a bit one's full and one's
But
not.
but the army got the M4 idea after this, if I'm not mistaken, and they're like, oh
Interesting.
well, if you shoot everybody a carbine, it's just
the
effective.
A2s are the A2s are kind of long if you really think about it for these
They're not.
applications.
You can
Getting in and out of helicopters, but yeah.
you can fucking make do with it. Like
Oh yeah, so many good shots, and the camouflage ones are great too.
yep,
Yeah.
rattle can.
That's
Fucking
cool.
old school, surefires and shit.
Yeah, so these are the fucking the really short ones.
So
So-
the 733, by the way.
To give a shout out to a friend of ours we've had on here, Henry from 9 Hole Reviews. He has a really, really good video about he built a what do you call it, 727 or an M4 that was just like the one that Gordo uses.
I was gonna
in
reference
this
that if
film.
you didn't. Yeah.
And it's really,
Yep.
I really highly recommend if you guys enjoy this, just to go over there and watch it because he does a really good job of talking about it and how actually the film influenced his military career, and getting into the whole everything. But no, he does a really good job of going into the actual history of their build and, the 1990s weapons modifying the community within the special operations.
Captain
groups,
Steel needs
so.
to close his fucking dust cover. I'm just kidding.
Steele's like one of those characters you think is going to be a dick and then like just pulls through in the end.
He's still a dick. He's not a good CO.
True, but he in a pinch, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, those like cans that are the size of the fucking rifle itself. Like, yes.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
They're great.
But that's pretty accurate.
That whole sequence. In the one where Durant has the MP5, that was very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to ask, can you effectively one-hand that, yes or no?
No.
Okay,
No.
there you go. There's my answer.
That's cool though.
It's cool, but it's one-handed
On
sub.
semi,
it's a one-handed
yes.
sub gun, fully automatic. My life was
Right,
questioned
no.
in that moment.
On semi, yes. On auto, no.
So we have the M4.
M4. Oh, interesting. Is it wrong? It is. Scroll up.
No, it's an M4. It's a 14.5 inch. It's just not like the fucking one with the well, that is the one with the rails, but not the Knight's Armament. Like that's an M4. So
Entered service in '94. Didn't know that.
yep. Because it was after this that they were like, oh, it's very
Yeah.
effective. So
This is my safety.
yeah, some of the writing, not a lot of it.
Yeah.
Some of the writing was.
I think,
retarded,
like
but,
kind of like what Brian said in the beginning, it's like that
yeah.
kind of bad. Although the military banter back and forth was nowhere near as bad as Hurt Locker. So there you go.
Yeah.
Right.
Legit.
The M16A2. I think
Old A2.
it's a fantastic version of the AR. Like
Oh, yeah.
in general.
I still have an affinity for the A1 just cause, but the A2 is amazing.
Was the A2 the first stages of Iraq? Were they using
Yes.
that? Okay, I
Yep.
thought so. Yeah.
That's like 06, 07 was when they really started to get phased out.
No, it's 04.
It's If
Okay.
I remembered correctly, it's the first like 1 to 2 years they start swabbing them out with other stuff, with more updated.
Very
It
early.
might have been A2s, but they were updating them or something. It was something.
Some
they're-
of 'em-
Well, they had the A3, which is the Navy's version, which is like it's an A2 with a flat top, but it's full auto instead of burst.
Okay, that's what
The
I
A4 was
remember.
burst with a flat top and the rail system and all that shit. So
You still got a fun switch on A2. Yeah, the Mogadishu Mile.
burst.
Forgot about that, yeah. Oh, is it?
Right,
Oh,
which is-
that's right.
the A2's burst. Yeah, the Mogadishu Mile is why they made us do a bunch of shit in basic that.
Yeah. Well, there's still training courses called the Mogadishu Mile, if I remember correctly.
Well, that
At least
was
at Bragg.
one of our last things that we had to do to like get the crossed rifles was patterned after that, and it was literally one of the most physically strenuous things I've done in my entire fucking life. It was insane, but yeah,
So that one scene where the Delta guy is yelling at, the captain. He's like, "You got to move. Your men have to be faster," And it comes down to your gear and your training. And a Delta, even though Ranger guys are fucking hardcore, don't get me wrong, Delta guys just has that edge. M14 was cool to see,
yep.
and they can be effective, even today.
They should have adopted a fucking FAL or G3, but hey,
That's a whole political conversation, but I totally agree. We fucked that one up.
yep. The A1,
Interesting. Didn't see that.
yep. There we go. I didn't see it either.
Oh yeah.
Well,
The
on
Bazaar.
on the fucking TV screen, Jesus Christ, in the jerk, like we're gonna put that on IMFDB.
They do that.
Jesus.
They do that. Yeah, they'll have
Where's on the TV?
movies within movies. They'll do that.
There's also not a fucking A1. That's a fucking XM16E1. So, with the flash hider, yeah, just go
Yeah.
fuck yourself.
The jerk.
Yeah.
Steve Martin's
All right.
version.
So the HKG3A3.
Ooh,
Those are cool.
Yep.
I love mine.
It's just
So it's okay. Mine's okay.
just okay.
We'll see.
Damn it! I was hoping Mike would rebuttal.
I like both of them, but like the G3 has grown on me a lot more because it's a lot more reliable and cold.
That is a big thing. That is a
Yeah, I'm aware, but it did not function. It fucking literally would fire one round and would not cycle. Yeah. Nope, you cannot. Not to my knowledge, but like the G3 fired. Yep. Yeah. If you're a weak little bitch. Norenko Type 56. Yeah. Those are going to be seen everywhere. Oh, they're really going hard on this one. Like, that blurry ass, like, fucking picture. Like, okay. The Type 56 was there in Somalia. Yep. Okay. It was there. 56-1. What kind of blurry ass picture do they give us on IMDb now? Oh,
You can tell.
that's not definitive. Like, that can be a fucking no. You just want to put the Type 56 in there. That is, yes, correct. That shot is. And that's still not a definitive shot.
that is.
No, it's not.
Why wouldn't that be?
You can't see the globe sight, the globe front sight. Yep. That is. Yep, that's a Type 56. Nope. And that is also not definitive. Just because it's the actual picture itself.
Right, yeah.
Like it's whatever. AKS 74U, yeah. But it's like, why would you use a 545 when literally all you have around you is 76239? Oh, because you're
it looks
elite.
cool.
Yeah.
It's a unique character thing.
Yep. The SVD, okay. So the SVD, okay. Scroll
Yeah,
down,
that's something I would
Nathaniel.
Where is it?
It's in the
Behind his shoulder?
background.
Left
on the
shoulder?
left
So I
side.
said scroll down.
Oh, Jesus
Christ.
H. Christ.
Right there.
Yeah. Nice. You're not going to come out. We should have like an internet movie fucking sunglasses database. Like,
Oh, it was
So
Oakley's
it'd be
didn't
like-
exist until when the film took place. That's funny.
well, actually, those are Oakley's. Yeah, I did not even notice that. Nice. All right. Go down. Oh, machine guns. Yeah, the M60. Yep.
I think this is the last hurrah for the M60, and not any specialized forms.
Well, like, yeah, exclusively, yeah, because the 240 was, I think, adopted in like 96 or 98.
Yeah, so I think this is really the last war that was 30 years after it was adopted.
Yep.
I love seeing that thing. And
Good machine gun, man.
The pig, the blanks.
Yep. I love the blanks. Yep, the blanks are
Yeah. You
beautiful.
you just can't get around that in movies. You know, if you have a
And they have the
belt-fed machine
fucking.
gun.
So in that one they've got the crimp blanks, and then that one they've got the fucking pointy tip blanks.
They got
Yep. The actual ones that work better because they cycle better.
Yeah. Although those are the pointy tip blanks with the crimps at least.
No, those are crimped.
Yeah. No,
Trust me.
no. I'm not arguing with that. I'm saying that the blanks, those are the longer tip blanks. Those do feed better than
they don't.
standard.
They don't, man. Like I'm telling you.
Okay.
Like,
I'm
any kind of crimp blanks,
I'm not-
they suck.
I'm not saying they're good. They just feed better with the longer tip of the blank because if you have the standard blanks with I'm not comparing it to the military
Nate?
stuff, but with the reenacting
Nate?
stuff when you have the short
no,
ones.
no,
they
no,
don't feed
because the
well.
Different worlds.
yeah.
That's
it's fine.
what I'm
It's-
just trying to say, and you're going no.
Army blanks
I
suck.
get it. I totally understand. They probably do suck ass. I'm just.
I was just gonna make an analogy, but I don't want to nuke the podcast. So
Oh wait, you don't.
it was the Olympics one. The Olympics one.
Oh.
That you know. Yeah.
Oh,
so
yes,
I'm not gonna do that
yes,
here.
yes,
Yep,
okay.
Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, no, yeah, I know. It's blanks in general just suck in guns that are made to fire like live rounds.
Was it Chris?
really
was
tough.
it Chris that just said blanks suck ass?
Yeah,
Just
because like
blatantly, he's just like blanks suck ass, and I think
they
yeah.
do. It's like the only malfunctions I've had on like machine guns were with blanks.
I can only imagine for movie armorers what it's like to have to just do repeated shots of people using them all the time. You know.
Yeah,
I can only imagine trying to clear a shell rupture when you're like got some fucking bigwig up your ass.
Right, like try to get the fucking thing in there, and
It's a funny note about the dogs in that photo. Apparently, a bunch of
Right.
the crew adopted dogs that were strays that were
Oh.
getting into the shots.
That's funny. Oh wow, it's a lot of the '60s right there.
Yeah, legit.
nice with the pintles on them.
Yeah,
Jesus,
that's rare.
nice.
Very nice.
That nice.
The mini
yeah,
me.
the mini me, or aka the 249.
There, so the round magazine, that was fucking cool.
Yeah, that was a very early thing that proved to not work well, and that's what
You
they
see
were
him
like.
in the Gulf, and then you see him there.
Right, and they're like, these things are
Poo
whatever.
poo.
Also, they
Fox
weren't
magazine.
expendable, like they were reusable, and they're like, well, we have to spend this much money to reload them. Uh-oh.
Whoops.
Oh yeah, the square fucking charging handle.
Yeah, right.
I know that very well.
It's called the Death Machine.
Yep.
What is with this? Is it just
I don't know.
Handguard?
That was a weird thing. Because it's not how the handguard looks on the
No.
early saws.
it looks
at
like
all.
it looks like someone like glued
Stippled
grip
the whole
paper.
thing.
Yeah, like grip
Yep.
paper with it just so they could grab.
Yep.
It might be a field thing, but I don't know. That's
no,
weird.
but no, like it's just
Yeah.
weird. It just doesn't make sense. So, the Browning M2 HP. This is like every fucking movie we review. The M2.
I know,
Like,
right?
the M2 is just at everything.
Hell
It
yeah.
sounded good too.
But I think instead of just talking about the M2, we need to see if it's fake or not in any of these shots. So
Yep.
let's take a look.
They sounded good.
That photo
Yeah,
right
charge-
there. The second photo is the one where it's bouncing up and down.
Oh,
That
Well,
right
yeah,
there.
that's got to be a rubber one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cue it.
looks longer than it should be too.
No, it's
Actually, rubber prop. This is
the length is fine. Like,
That shot was cool because you could
do
see.
not make this a fucking short, Nate. By the way.
That shot was cool right there because you could see the bolt inside it moving back and forth
yeah
when it was shooting.
with the detached
Right.
charging handle.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it till you said. No, I might.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Nate. If you do that, I will your soul. You know this.
That's a
wait,
short in
we're,
itself,
we're on a
too.
podcast. Never mind. All right.
Live.
Whatever. You could choose
From
to
Cheese
use
City,
that or not.
Wisconsin.
But yes, the bolt reciprocating back and forth. Yes, that was a good touch.
That's
I
cool.
like
Yeah.
that in
I
that
love
scene.
seeing
Yep.
that.
Again, it's fucking no armor, and you're driving through a city.
Dude,
where
that
everyone's
guy's
trying to kill you.
Go up a little bit, Nate. That shot. That guy's holding that fucking thing on. That's
you
not
know
how you
why?
hold a fucking M2.
You know why?
That's not how you. Because he's an actor and he's not
No,
really shooting it.
because his fucking hands are like this, and he's out of the way so the camera can get a shot.
Yeah, he's absolutely right.
This-
Yes.
Yeah, that's
He's
That's
cheating it,
absolutely.
yeah.
That's absolutely.
It's
it,
right
yeah.
here.
That-
That's
yeah,
why it looks
because like
fucked up.
that's not how you hold a fucking M2.
No, it's not.
you
But that's
fucking
why he's
retard.
got to be like out of the way. So
Yeah, no way. You hold that bitch like you mean it, and that thing will fucking
Oh, yeah.
recoil and produce results like she means it.
like the
It's a
guy with the
fucking
winter
awesome
coat on.
weapon. Yeah, the winter coat with the hood up.
Yep.
Wait a second. Okay, can you blow that up a little bit? That picture. That's
Oh,
a
I know what that
Dutch,
is.
dude. That is a Dutch fucking like M whatever field jacket because they had the really super angled pockets with the Velcro. It's actually here's the thing is like they made that garment for this film.
I can't think of anything more hotter to wear in Somalia right now.
Right. Well, here's the thing is like if he was wearing just that as like a vest over a fucking t-shirt or whatever,
Yeah.
one thing, but like yeah, he's the bad guy though, so you got to know that.
Right.
That's a Dutch fucking like 50s era field jacket. Or
That's
no,
funny.
like 70s era field jacket. because of the Velcro. Who knows?
Well,
The hell
The M80 what the fuck
Oh.
is an M85?
is that apparently?
oh, that's the 50 cal on the cupola of the. It was neat to see the Pakistanis. That was
Yep.
neat. You never see UN coalitions like that.
I heard they were
Well,
pissed that they didn't get more screen time.
Really?
Yeah.
We should have done
Well,
more shit.
I was going to say earlier, it's funny, Nate, that you talk about the whole Black Hawk thing. And like in this film, we have Pakistani UN troops saving Americans, and then in Zero Dark 30, you have Pakistanis selling remnants of the American helicopter to China. So there's a Pakistani connection in both these movies.
Yeah. And we've come full circle.
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
the minigun, and this one of
Cute
these
little
fucking
buzzsaw.
guns in the museum in fucking North Carolina. It's so cool. Like rusting in the weeds for like 10 years. Wait, let me get my car battery.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's a GAU 8. The sound that I was replicating.
Yeah, the
Fucking-
pitch was just a little too high. at the end.
Yep.
And you call yourself Mike B. Jesus.
Yeah. I'm a fucking failure, dude.
Who are you?
Don't. Oh, I see what you did there.
Dishka.
Fuck you. Yeah, Dishka. Yeah,
Love me a
of
Dishka.
course.
So I think
There's gonna be Dishkas in every fucking conflict.
They're-
after
that's a
the
real one.
50s.
That's another real one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually. Yeah, it is. It's
Yeah.
legit.
That's a
Or
rarity
it's
in
a
movies.
really
Yeah.
fucking good prop. If it's not real,
Well, if
it's a really good prop.
if they shot it in Morocco?
They probably had it.
It never fired
You
though
definitely
in the
see that.
movie. They just
Which
had
is-
him on it or around it.
Yeah,
which
that's
is-
fine. But like,
Yeah, they're cool as fuck. So
Hey,
whenever I see a real
real
Dishka,
Dishka, whether it's not usable or whatever, fine. It's cool.
it looks so they're so funky. The receivers, it's so cool
Oh.
looking. And like when you
The
the top cover is
Zasavat
like
M72.
4 inches big too. It's like the whole thing at the top, and then you like lift up this little section. It's funny.
oh yeah, it is.
M72.
Yeah. Those are great rifles.
Yeah.
PKM.
PKM. Yep. One of the best medium machine guns and heavy machine guns ever fucking made.
It's an upside down AK.
Oh, so now we're gonna get real fun. A3. Yep.
I don't like that scene. I don't know what's real in the world
Again,
anymore. Though.
semi-automatic, absolutely fucking plausible. Absolutely. But full auto, with one hand. Mm-mm.
In the book,
Even
in
though
real
it's 9
life, the
millimeter.
weapons are actually MP5Ks.
Right, the really small fuckers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Huh, interesting. It was issued as a defense weapon to helicopter pilots in Somalia in case they got shot down and had to deal with drug dealers or something. It was only in Somalia
Right.
though. It said.
Which he did.
Yeah.
You know.
I know what you mean, Nate, but the one scene where he just fucking sticks it like out the broken window of the Black Hawk
Yeah.
does look pretty fucking cool. So
All I could hear was "hit me in the air."
870. Where the fuck is this?
yeah, one of the guys has it slung on his shoulder.
What? No. Jesus Christ. Okay.
I guess
So
they're
I didn't
breaching or
notice that
something.
'cause-
Go down to
yeah,
the
'cause it
second
was-
photo.
No, he's not breaching.
No, I guess that's the only thing I could think about it. But
You
I
can
saw
see
that
it much
flying
better
around.
in the second
Yeah.
photo.
I never see.
He's got it
fire,
on his
though.
back, but like, why the fuck would the guy be like shouldering that thing in a firefight? Like, what the fuck are
I
you
don't
doing?
ever remember being used.
No, it's just being carried around.
Yeah. So the 1911, yes, I know the A1. Delta
I don't know,
guys use
I don't-
that.
Mike. That's a high power. I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what? Literally, when I was watching this again today, I was like, "Is he rocking a high power?" And I'm like, wait a second. I'll just slink back. That's probably 1911, and then it was. So, how's that 7 rounds working out for you, bud?
I can never fucking pronounce Jamie Lannister's name. Nikolaj Coster-Waldau.
Something, yeah. He's
Nicola Coster-Waldau.
I think he's
Call him alphabet.
he's what,
Easy.
Danish or something.
He's Danish, yeah.
It's Nikolai. It's just the fucking J is a Y.
Oh, okay.
At one point,
It's like
his muzzle.
it's like
That's funny.
jalapeno.
What
It's
is
pronounced
steak?
jalapeno. Yes, I said jalapeno.
Oof, that was a rough scene.
If there's breath, there is life. You know, you fight till you can't.
So I was correct then that he was carrying a Tokarev.
Yeah,
We don't know
I
what
like that.
variant, but like, yeah, yep, and because that's
I-
yeah,
You know, they overpower him. What are you gonna do? I get it. I like the scene how like they take him on one at a time. It's like the crowd's just like, what's going to happen? It was a little bit like, what was it? Danger close like.
Well, but like here's the
way,
thing: is like
but-
in that particular scene where they executed that guy, it's like out of any fucking round that would go through that rudimentary body armor that they had back then, the 7.62.5 would do it.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, because it was really a quick scene, but like, I was like, is that a Tokarev that he's holding? Yes, and it is. So go down. Yep, it is.
Yeah.
Okay,
He
I was
empties it
correct.
too.
Because he does, and that's, dude. I don't care what body armor you're wearing. Like, one of those is gonna punch through and fucking hit you.
Oh yeah.
And it's
From
not a
that
good
range?
round.
Yep.
Do not fuck with that round. Like that is a hot fucking round.
7.62. Fucking
2.5. Yep.
wide.
And
Wide
it's-
boy.
Yeah. 92 FS or the M9. Yep.
Yeah. Again, it's funny. Growing up, this is like M9 and an A2 chocolate chip and a basket. That's like what a soldier wears.
Yep.
I did have GI Joes, like you said, Brian. When you said that, I'm like,
Yeah.
I remember those Hasbro
Yeah.
GI Joes. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. It's funny. Like that. Just growing up, that's what an American soldier looked like in my head. Like it's like in the Second World War, it's like wolves and a steel helmet and a Garand. It's like chips and a fucking A2.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what I think about.
Or like when my dad was in, when I was a kid, he wore BDUs. I had to shine his boots. I had to shine his little boots. I love doing it. Like the actual like speed lace ones.
Yeah.
I would polish them up, shine them up really nice, so they were like shiny. And that's what he wore. And it was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
In the 90s.
That's all coyote shit, right?
Yeah. You don't have to shine these? Yeah,
It's all rough
pieces
out.
of shit.
RPG.
Oh, I wonder where that first picture's from.
Good
Who's that guy?
old Ian.
Who?
What? Yeah, the sevens. I was thinking during this film though, it's just crazy how like this German weapon made to like kill tanks evolved into this.
Yeah.
Because the last German version of the Panzer Faust had an MG42 trigger guard welded to the bottom. That was literally the first RPG.
Have you seen the
like
modern
fucking-
German anti-tank weapon?
The Panzerfaust 3s? I think I have. The ones they're using over in Ukraine and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're crazy. They look just like fucking...
They're exactly the same thing. Yeah.
we come for a
They're just
circle.
bigger. Yep.
A tube with a pistol grip. Like it's just crazy, and it's one of the most versatile weapons. It's like the drone of the 1940s, 50s. You're like, fuck, RPGs changed everything.
Yep.
Used them a lot in this movie.
Yeah, it was
Well,
a very
they do
RPG
use them a
movie.
lot. Like they're very effective.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Oh, the
They're not the
Deuce
best. They're just fucking.
Took me a second to realize what I was looking at. The fucking round sticking out.
Oh
Of the guys. They pull 'em out
yeah,
of the
it
fucking-
does
Yeah.
look a little different, doesn't it?
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
that guy who's dead. Yeah.
alphabet.
Had that thing gone off though, everybody in the truck would have been fucking toast. So.
Yeah. Oh, what? Noriko made one?
Dude, they copy everything.
No, I didn't know that though. Because again,
They copy
has-
copies. That's the
has, like,
problem.
That has like little show
a bipod.
legs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen the bipod RPGs. But I didn't know that was a Chinese thing. Interesting. Huh.
The warhead looks a little different in the second photo.
Oh yeah, it's not stamped on the front. Yep.
The M72, yeah. Those things were fucking used up until like the beginning of GWAT.
I was
You see them in.
wondering about that because I just associate Vietnam with those things.
You
No,
see them
those
in,
things were fucking widely used.
Yeah.
You see them in GWAT too, and you even see them in Restrepo and stuff. They have ones that have modified sights and things. They're great one-shot weapons. And what's funny was I look at this. He's shooting a training one. You can see the trainer insert in the back of the fucking
yeah,
wall.
you're right. Yeah.
Because
Oh,
they
yeah.
shoot little 20mm rockets.
9mm rounds.
Well,
But
back in the
they
day, the
rigged up
trainers had
some
little blue
smoke.
rockets that were like this big, and they were small
Right.
like this. And you would put it in
But
the.
like-
They had a plastic thing that would go in the end. I only know that because I used to play with one.
Yeah.
But yeah, today they use different training ammunition.
Yeah. Oh, the
But yeah,
SPG-9. Yeah.
There's the
That's a
66
bitch.
law that come out, and everyone's like, it's a piece of shit. And then the 72 is what came out, which was the good one. And they look a lot different. To find a right 66 Vietnam War law is actually really hard. And yeah, the Chinese rocket launcher. You see these a lot in the Middle East and everywhere.
Yeah, they're pretty effective.
Yeah, they're really effective. Me and Sean have used one to great effect in video games before.
Oh yeah, I forgot about those
Shot
knives.
down fucking hips and
Oh
hinds.
my god, that was so funny. Nate, Nate,
Cobra.
Nate,
Squad.
we're gonna strap you full of bombs. You go do that. We'll shoot him over here.
CM203 for a flare launcher. Okay.
Yeah, you can get those. Oh, derp. Yep.
It's not 40 millimeter, it's 37, but like
Yeah.
the real
I
ones
see
are
this a
40
lot.
millimeter. Yeah. Did the 203 is a piece of shit.
It looks really cool in the gun, but yeah.
It looks really cool, but like I've used one, it's a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
The M203.
Well, it's better than the XM148 where they used the nom.
Oh yeah, yeah, it is. But it's again, it's like you can polish a turd, but in the end, it's still a piece of shit.
A lot of them are like mounted on their own thing now. I see their own standalone.
No,
grenade
it's the
launcher.
M328 or whatever the fuck it is.
It's like the one that was on the G36s. It looks like it's like the
right,
the
but like
German HK.
you can either shoot it standalone or mount it on a
I
rifle.
forget.
It's
There's a really good documentary from Afghanistan about, I think, the Battle of Marcha, it's called, which follows a bunch of Marines and shit there. And they have one of those fuckers, but it's like on a stick. Like literally, there's like a hewn down stick that's like got an angle in it, and they pull it out of somebody's ruck. They're using that at times. So hey, it works, you know. Yeah, good old M203. Jump out in the middle of the street and shoot it.
grenades. M67.
We've
Yeah, those
covered the
things are fucking.
M67 as much as we've covered,
Those are
covered the
heavy.
M2. Yeah.
Hey, you ever throw one of those, like, you know, into a 4-story window from like 200 feet away?
No,
From
but
150 yards. Yeah.
no, but I've thrown it into
Yeah.
an 8-story building there, Brian.
Is that when like the fucking Delta guys take their 8-ball and then they go into combat?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, they jerk off all day, every day, and smoke a thing.
Dude, if that guy would have thrown that fucking thing 150 yards precisely into that window, that's like a fucking Medal of Honor kind of citation.
Well, congratulations, you won a stuffed bear.
It's like, holy shit, man.
I do know that this was the time. That was kind of a joke, but real. This was the kind of time where speed entered the special forces community. I know some people that have some stories about that.
You don't think it entered it in Vietnam?
Oh, that different war, but I mean, like in modern context, like, you know, these guys are, you know,
It's always been there.
special forces for a reason. But anyway, you know, maybe speed lets you throw a grenade 400 yards straight up into the air. I think this is the longest. IMDb we've ever done.
IMFDB. They didn't get the fucking F1, the Soviet F1 that was on the guy's belt in that one scene.
Oh.
Well,
So
go take a
they
blurry
fucked it up.
screenshot.
They fucked it up.
Go take a blurred screenshot.
The whole page is fucked because of that.
Yep,
And
the whole page invalid.
It also was cool to see the incendiary grenades when they were blowing shit up.
Yeah,
you know.
scuttling shit. Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
fucking.
yeah, like the podcast, scuttling shit.
But also, here's the thing: is they don't blow up like that; they just burn.
yeah,
And you set them on a thing like an engine block or whatever the fuck, a radio. They don't blow up;
this
they just
scene.
melt.
Well, I think it's time to move on to final thoughts.
Yep, sounds good.
Who would like to start?
Nathan would like to start. can
I
see
agree,
it in his little
Nathan. I
eye.
could see.
You know, I could
And
see
his beard.
You know, I could see Mike A wants to start. Why don't you go?
Oh,
Yeah. So yeah, like a lot of Ridley Scott's movies, very, very well done in terms of, you know, showing the situation, showing, you know, a grand scale of shit going on. I thought, you know, when I completely forgot that he did the movie, but when his name popped up, you know, I was like, oh right, and then like that makes a lot of sense. Great cinematography. The action itself is terrifying. You know, a lot of it. I thought that part was probably the most well done part of the whole movie, was just how brutal and intense it all was. And again, I like how it goes from being, hey, we got to do this mission, to that's just like, fuck all that. It's all about, you know, just surviving now. So out of 10, out of 10, I would probably give it a 7.5 out of 10.
nice.
And now I will pass it back to Nate.
So yeah, so like, I mean, same thing here. I mean, you know, it's interesting going through it with you guys and hearing all the historical context stuff that I don't really quite know. And some of it I knew in terms of the weapon stuff, but like the uniforms and stuff, it's super interesting. And I'm super thrilled that they actually got that right. Because a lot of times people don't get it right. And does it really matter to the general audience? No, but it matters to people like us who really study this stuff, and it shows effort. And I think that's what I see in this film. Of the whole thing is I see effort. I see effort in trying to understand the time period at this point, 10 years after, trying to understand, the culture of a certain branch of the military, understanding the place, the situation, everything, almost down to the T. So I really do see the details in that, and that really does make it really good, I think. There are a few things that I did see that, in terms of an editor, some of the sounds were kind of canned. That kind of bothered me a little bit.
Some stock sounds.
Yeah, like a snap is or a hiss is close. A snap means you're it was like the most like cookie cutter fucking thing, and that was the only thing. It's the time period though. It's not anything I can really peg it for. It just kind of bothered me a little bit up and down. But again, it's so nitpicky the things I would pull it down for. In terms of the story for me and everything, I mean, like Mike A said, it's gripping, holds your attention, it's engaging. Definitely don't look at your phone during this. I think the only reason why I looked at my phone is because I've seen it like X amount of times. So, it definitely will not ever pull you away out of with it being boring or anything like that. So overall, I mean, I really, really like it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that really kind of stood out to me. I mean, other than the one-handed fucking MP5, but I'm not going to knock it for that. But I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 scream mells. I think that's
Pretty
where
loud
it
mells.
sits. Yeah, it's a pretty loud mel. It's a bounty scream mel. So, it works. So, yeah, no, I like it a lot. Watch it. If you've been living under a stump, watch it. If you want to watch it again, watch it. It's good. Brian.
Yeah, no, I really couldn't agree more. I think it starts out a little slow. It's a bit repetitive at times. I'm not sure if that's just, because they had so many different iterations of the script, like 80 or something you said, Michael? It's fucking insane.
Yeah, it was written 80 different times, but they brought on numerous different screenwriters to punch up dialogue and stuff like that.
Damn, this is fucking crazy. I mean, knowing that behind it, I kind of understand the first bit of it, but the second that they fucking leave the base for the raid, it's amazing. And it's just, again, it's so, if you don't pay attention to the whole thing, you'll miss cool shit. Like Nate was saying, like, don't look at your fucking phone, just watch the movie. It's really awesome. And yeah, for, people that grew up like us during the GWAT era and stuff, it's just really interesting to relive it. And to not watch it on TNT,
Yes.
It is an R movie that should be viewed as an R movie.
Exactly. You have to always see things in their original format if you really want to understand them. But it's so well cast. It's so hard to nitpick, and that being said, I would also have to give it a 9. I mean, a few green screen things or whatever, but like as far as like a war movie, if you want to watch something you're gonna fucking enjoy over and over again, yeah, this is gonna be it. And you're always gonna pick up new shit that you haven't seen before, and just watch it because it's the 30th anniversary of the fucking battle this year. I mean, that's enough to realize, holy shit, it's been 30 years since '93, regardless. So no, it's fucking awesome, and I bestow the talking pillow onto you, Mr. Mike B.
All right, yeah. It's good at portraying the chaos and like the intensity of that, because again, I know a couple people who were like, not in this battle, of course, but like they were around there and they were like, it was completely fucked. Everything we did was completely fucked. And then having done research, like watching like presentations and talks of the guys who actually were here and like are portrayed in this film, it's like, yeah, it's, again, no film's ever going to be perfect in portraying what it was, because it's a film. Like, you can't do that. But I think as like an outsider looking in, is like, yeah, it got as close as they could possibly get to how incredibly stressful and just not good the situation was. Like, I know I say not good, like jokingly a lot, but like it was just really, it was a bad fucking situation, and it was just horrible all around. Like, how do you get out of that alive? And it's, you know, they could have done a lot of things better, I think, in the film of like the banter, like it was brought up earlier, the banter. But as far as the gear and all that shit, looks good because it was so fresh. It's like you can still buy that shit at the surplus store. You know, when they made this film, like, you can still buy all that shit. Okay, the Delta guys, they modified their uniforms a little bit, sure, but like you can all buy that stuff. So that's why the uniforms were actually, and the gear was good. The way they moved, I actually appreciated because it's like they're moving like a 90s U.S. Army infantryman. Like they're Rangers, I know that, but like they're still infantry at heart, you know? Like it's the same kind of style. They just work in different tactics, like squad size and everything. They got a lot more training. They're airborne, qualified, and all that shit. But like they moved like actual Rangers and Delta guys. Delta guys move a lot faster. If you notice that, like they move a lot. Like they go, okay, what do we got to do? Okay, let's go. Because it's like, yeah, it's like they're on fucking meth. Like they're just like, okay, but that's how those guys in JSOC and Special Forces and whatever, that's how they operate. Like they fucking go. Okay. And that was pretty cool. Like also, like I said earlier, like those guys working with the Rangers, who are a quote unquote lower tier than like Delta, and just working with them like, okay, here's what we're doing. Bam. Okay, we got it. And they trust them. I really like that because there wasn't any of this, well, I have to explain this shit to you because you're a fucking Ranger and I'm Delta. It's like, no, it's like, we're doing this. Okay, got it. And they do it, you know? And I like that a lot. And also, I do like the fact that like the general who is making all the decisions back at the talk, he knows he's just got to make a fucking decision and he's thinking, and then it you know, it winds up in the credits like he took all responsibility for the decisions he made. The guys got killed, yes, but it was a horse shit situation, like, you know, and whatever. But like I do like the fact that like he wasn't like this, like in Thin Red Line, like Nick Nolte's character, right? Oh, we gotta fucking, you're gonna go up this goddamn hill. It's like, no, he knows shit, guys are getting killed. And I'm the one responsible for making that decision. Okay, but I still have to think about like these guys have to go here, but everything's a clusterfuck. So they portray that pretty well, you know, to the extent that you can in a film. And I like that because it's like it does put fault on people in charge. It also shows that, yeah, Americans are not invincible. You know, I do like that, even though like I'm an American, of course. Like for those of you that are foreign listening to me, like I love my country. I fucking think that our military is or it was good at a certain point. And it also shows that no matter how good you are, you're extremely vulnerable. Because they lost a lot of like really well trained troops in that whole engagement, in that whole battle, and it was really fucked up. And politics aside and all that shit, they did their job the best they could, and they still, a lot of them died and got wounded. So it showed that well. Again, some of the writing, like in this scene, kind of stupid. Like that guy. So in real life, like this Delta guy, when he's talking to the sergeant at the end, and he's going back out there, he's not going to be giving him this like fucking speech of like, well, that's why we do it, you know, whatever. He's going to be like shoveling food into him as hard as possible, as fast as possible, because he hasn't eaten in 2 fucking days. Mm-hmm. Like he's going to be just eating and be like, yep, okay, so when we go back out there, yeah, so here's what I'm thinking is, you know, that's what they're going to be doing like in real life. And that's what the film, like, you know, every film falls short on, because if you're to portray that, well, you can just go watch shit on YouTube from Ukraine or any other war. And it's boring to most people because they're like, well, what are you saying? It's like, no, I want to eat. So I'm going to be shoveling food in at the speed of light. And it's going to have to digest before I get into combat again. And I'm going to throw up. But hey, at least my stomach's not hurting because I'm hungry. Anyway, it also, I did like this because it didn't really portray the Somalis in a bad light. It did to an extent, of course, because they're the enemy. But it's not like, shitting on the Somalis. It's like, and also, these aren't Somalis in the film. These are people from like Central and Western Africa. Somalis, because I live in a area where we have a literal fucking giant population of Somali people. They don't look like the people in this film did. This looks like, as far as the African actors in this one, they look like Hotel Rwanda. And Rwanda's on the other side of the fucking continent. Somali people are much more skinny, which is where the term comes from, right? They're thinner. They have different facial features and whatever. I know you can't get a bunch of Somali actors at this time when they made this to show up like you could with, Captain, whatever the fuck, Captain
Phillips.
Phillips, right? Which they also got from Minnesota, which is up near where I'm at. And
It's like,
I get that.
You know where Fargo is? That's where you find a lot of Somalis. Like I'm not even joking.
That's the third largest concentration of them.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So that was one little thing. But no, they also didn't portray the Somalis in like a fucking villain light, right? Which I appreciated because again, we're on their turf. They didn't come and invade us. So it's like, yeah, I would do the same shit. I would fucking kill the people that were invading my country, or so I thought, Anyway, long-winded shit, but I had to cover a couple points that I failed to bring up earlier. Yeah, I'll give this a solid 8 out of 10. Solid 8.
So, I mean, Mike, they didn't eat properly. I was waiting for a 1.
So putting all the scores.
Yeah, just deflect. Fuck
So
it. Yep.
putting all the scores into the computer that will tell us.
Yeah, Brian wants out. Yeah,
It's the computer that will tell us if the Pakistanis will get mad at this podcast. We get a 8.4. So yeah, that's
not
pretty
bad.
high. No, not bad at all. B plus. Like I said earlier, it's just a really good movie, and you will enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it, fuck you. No, like it's really hard to nitpick. If you're into this kind of stuff.
That's what Ridley Scott said.
If I were to do more
like
research on the actual topic of what happened, perhaps it'd be easier to nitpick, but like, who knows? So,
yep. So cool.
All right.
Well, thanks for joining us, guys, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a rating. Otherwise, Mel Gibson won't stop screaming. If you like this content, make sure to check out our Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram pages. If you want to directly support our work, make sure to check out our Patreon. All these links are in the description below. Until the next time, Scuttlebutt out.